In the opening scene, a man appears to have wiped out several sect groups all by himself. He is none other than the demonic god. 3 men stand before him, preparing to fight, believing the demonic god must be exhausted. They are Yan Jinan, the head of Shaolin, Zhang Guang, the leader of the manhwa sect, and the head of the Namgung clan. They intend to finish off the demonic god right then and there. However, the demonic god says, "It's just the 3 of you now." The trio immediately prepares to defend against the demonic god's attack. In an instant, he appears right before the Shaolin leader, who is stunned as he barely blocks the blow, only to be sent flying backward. However, he counters using his weapon, unleashing the Buddha's palm skill, a terrifyingly powerful attack. Yet, the demonic god dodges it effortlessly. Vaulting behind the Shaolin head, he says, "I'll take you down first," and slashes again with his sword. The Shaolin leader parries the strike with immense effort and shouts to his allies, "What are you doing? Now's the time." The other 2 charge toward the demonic god at high speed to strike. Zhang Guang releases the Plum Blossom Flash, while Namgung unleashes the 10,000 Thunders Return to Ash. The attacks head straight for the demonic god and hit their target. Wincing in pain, he coughs up a large amount of blood. As he lands, the Shaolin leader prepares to strike him from behind, saying, "May you be reborn in heaven," as he thrusts his staff. The demonic god swiftly dodges the attack, astonished that he can move so fast and jump into the air despite such injuries. The Shaolin leader freezes right before the demonic god descends with a strike, instantly taking him down. Looking menacing, the demonic god asks, "Who's next?" The remaining 2 tremble in fear, viewing the demonic god as a complete monster. He leaps toward them. Zhang Guang dodges and retreats at high speed, but the demonic god relentlessly presses forward. Here, the demonic god's true identity is revealed. His name is Cheon Ma. To eliminate the man who drowned the Central Plains in blood, the elites of the 9 great sects joined forces. Yet, facing the power praised as the strongest under the heavens, the entire alliance was pushed to the brink of destruction. The demonic god asks, "Old man, did you set the trap?" Zhang Guang replies, "Of course. This place will be your grave." He immediately unleashes the endless plum blossom rain. The demonic god steps back to evade the fierce barrage, stunned by its destructive force. Realizing this won't be enough and recalling his small family, he thinks, "I can't die here yet." He immediately executes a counterattack, the Black Dragon Demon Flying Slash. Zhang Guang is hit by the strike and dies on the spot. Namgung instantly attacks with the sword without hindrance skill. Though Cheon Ma manages to dodge most of it, he takes a partial hit, feeling an agonizing pain. Still, he endures the injury, holding on to the memory of his slaughtered family. This is nothing, he thinks. Namgung is shocked that Cheon Ma can still move with such injuries. As Cheon Ma lunges at him, Namgung managed to retreat, but still suffers a painful wound. "Damn you, Cheon Ma!" cursed the demonic sect. Using a movement technique, Namgung vanishes behind the demonic god and drives his sword straight through his heart. Landing a decisive blow, Namgung says, "Your miserable life ends here." With everything fading, the demonic god thinks to himself, remembering his past. "It all ends here. I said everything ends here. This cursed fate." He grabs the blade and impales himself deeper through his own heart, running the sword straight through his back into Namgung behind him. Mortally wounded, Namgung is thrown back and dies, his head severed in the process. Before dying, Namgung thinks, "How? I stabbed his heart. How is he still alive? Has he truly transcended human limits? Cursed demonic god." With that, Namgung dies. The 9 great sects are now completely destroyed, with no one left standing. The demonic god has defeated them all. Calling out to his deceased wife and children, he murmurs, "Is this enough?" He then recalls his past, a memory of getting into a fight with children his age before being picked up by a man. Cheon Ma wonders, "Is this the flash of my life before I die? It's been so long since I saw my master's young face. Ah, so that was my master. Right. My journey in the Murim began here." It started with fighting every single day just to survive. A life spent with a sword in hand, without a home to return to. To live another day, someone else had to die. An empty cycle of meaningless slaughter. Could a life like this ever hold meaning? Did it really pass by so quickly? He recalls his wife's words. I understand that feeling. I used to fight with people in the market every day, too. In this world, you won't survive long if you view everyone as an enemy. Trying to soothe your younger siblings whenever they want sweets isn't easy either, but those moments are the most precious. When I fell after losing my parents, those two gave me a reason to stand up again. Why don't you try making precious memories like that too? Then, he remembers the moment his wife and child died right before his eyes. I wanted to live with you. You became my reason to live. A reason for someone who only knew how to kill. Yet I raised my sword again for revenge. An aimless life without a home. Where was my purpose? He feels profound grief over the loss of his family. My family was my purpose, and I have walked this path of slaughter alone for 15 years. Now, with my sword dulled and my body covered in hundreds of scars, I have finally given everything I had for my revenge. Finally, facing the rising sun, he sets down his sword. This is the resting place of the demonic god, Ma. He thinks in the end, I'm being sent to hell. However, before opening his eyes, he hears a loud commotion. Many people are talking. A woman says, since an unfortunate incident befell your brother, who can no longer inherit the martial arts legacy, you are asking your son to inherit it instead. The Nama family. Confused, he opens his eyes. What is this? Shouldn't this be hell? He realizes he is inside the body of a young man. A young boy nearby shouts, Nonsense! My older brother is still alive and well. How can a martial arts family's legacy be passed down through the mother's side? Besides, you weren't even from our mother's lineage to begin with. Even if my brother can't inherit the martial arts, our grandfather's techniques still belong to the Yomwa clan. Looking around, the demonic god sees children nearby and thinks, who on earth are you? A man then speaks up. It seems this won't end easily. Fine, let me make a proposal. I heard you two are so poor you can barely afford to eat. I will give you money. Mujin, you can wager your entire clan's martial arts heritage. We will fight, and the winner takes both. What do you say? The young boy snaps back. What did you say? My brother can't even train because of his madness. Do you think we'll fall for your trickery? Finally, the demonic god speaks up. You're all being way too noisy. Who is this Mujin you keep talking about? The two children look confused. I am the demonic god, Ma. The children look bewildered. It appears he is the older brother of these two kids. The man asks, what are you talking about? Who did you say you were? He replies, Ma. People call me the demonic god. The man sneers, cut the jokes. Why don't you just claim to be the king of the underworld while you're at it? This man is Dabo, the second son of the Changhua Merchant Guild. The young girl mutters, why now of all times? His madness is getting worse by the day. A woman speaks up. With a family heir like this, the fate of the Yomwa clan is obvious. I'm only saying this because of our blood relation, so don't misunderstand. This proposal isn't a bad deal for your family either. This woman is Bu Yan, the head of the Changhua Merchant Guild. It's settled then. I'll take your silence as agreement. Announce that on the 5th day of next month, we will meet at the Flying Shadow Pavilion. This is a promise between martial artists. You know the consequences of breaking it, don't you, demonic god? With that, they leave. Having made the decision unilaterally, the younger sister asks, what are you going to do? You've never even swung a sword properly before. Mujin replies, never swung a sword? How amusing. I just need to gather my energy. Before he can finish his sentence, he gasps in shock. Wait, where did it go? What is this? I don't have any internal energy at all. And what is with this frail body? The bones are so fragile. Can this body even lift a sword? What kind of absurd situation is this? His younger sister pleads, please stop it. Brother, please snap out of it. Even if you're out of your mind right now, who would stay quiet after hearing that? Except for a total idiot. The younger brother snaps at her. A total idiot, you say? How dare you insult our brother? Apologize right now. The sister refuses, crying, It's all his fault our parents died. She turns around and runs off in tears. The younger brother says, Brother, you might not remember because this happens so often, but please understand her. I'll take my leave now. Mujin thinks, even those two kids treat me like a madman. How strange. I distinctly remember severing the head of the Namgung clan leader, and then my heart was pierced. That suffocating feeling is still so vivid. I even avenged my family and closed my eyes in peace. So, why am I in this body? How is this possible? And who were those two children who looked so much like Suk and Yong? What kind of nonsense is this? Suddenly, someone calls out, Young master. An old man approaches. You've gone outside again while your body is so frail. Do you have any idea how much this servant worries about you? Mujin asks, Who are you? You seem to know me. The servant sighs. It seems your madness has relapsed again. Very well, I shall explain. I am a servant of the Yoma clan. My name is Masuk. In the past, with your talent and wisdom, many sects wanted to take you in as a disciple. You are currently 23 years old, the heir of the Yoma clan. Huamujin. That is your identity, young master. This is the 6,200th time I have explained this to you. Mujin says, Oh really? If I was truly that amazing, why are my physical condition and dantian like this right now? Madness, you say? Why does everyone treat me like I've lost my mind? Masuk answers, That is because of what happened 17 years ago. Back then, Mujin was only 6 years old and Dabo was 9. Mujin challenged Dabo to a duel, but Dabo suggested they fight without using internal energy. While the clan leaders were away, the two young masters fought. Mujin acknowledged Dabo's skill as Dabo dodged all his attacks. However, Dabo said, Impressive talent for someone from a righteous sect, but a fair fight without internal energy. Dabo then gathered his internal energy and struck Mujin directly, sending him flying and severely injuring him. Mujin gasped. Wasn't this supposed to be a fight without internal energy? Why did you use the 7-1 fist? Dabo replied, Even now, you still call me brother? As you can see, this is a technique from the Kondong sect. A single strike can leave lasting damage. Or so they say. Lately, I've been experimenting with it. Last week, I tried it on a disciple who spoke out of line, and he's still on the verge of death. So, Mujin, how about you? Dabo beat Mujin mercilessly until he was battered and bruised. Returning to the present, Mujin thinks, Oh, so that's why I'm treated like a lunatic. If this is the result of that beating, it makes sense. But on top of crippling my dantian and driving the original owner mad, he had the nerve to challenge me to a duel today without a trace of shame. What punishment did Dabo receive back then after ruining my body? Masuk answers, The punishment was decided by the clan leader at the time, your father. Although young Master Dabo was his nephew, he was also the heir to the Changhua Merchant Guild, one of the top guilds in the Central Plains. So, he was only given a lengthy reprimand. Mujin remarks, His son was disabled by that blow, and he only punished the perpetrator with a scolding? What a pathetic family. And where are my parents now? Masuk replies, Your parents? As your madness worsened over time, the clan leader fell deeply into debt trying to find a cure for you. 9 years ago, your mother's illness worsened, and she passed away shortly after. 3 years later, crushed by the debt, the clan leader also passed away. People believe that you drove your parents to their deaths, that you devoured your parents and left your younger siblings to suffer for the rest of their lives. The reputation of the Yoma clan ended there. Now, all that remains is the debt from trying to cure you, 2 loyal servants, a dozen warriors under your command, and finally, the young Master Dojin and young Lady Swan, your 2 unfortunate siblings. Recalling his sister's outburst that it was all his fault their parents died, Mujin thinks, a family destroyed by a single illness. No wonder that child threw a tantrum like that. Later that night, inside a building, Mujin reads through the books available and thinks, I've learned a few things from the history books in Mujin's room. Back when I was the demonic god, After my battle with the 9 great sects, I truly died. It seems 30 years have passed since that day. This world feels far too real to be a dream, which means this is my reality now. In short, I am not some mindless lunatic. I have taken over the body of the eldest son, Hua Mujin. Everything I needed to kill is already dead, a life without regrets. Both of my new siblings have tragic stories, just like the people I used to know. Since I have to live in this body, perhaps I should help those 2 children for the time being. If so, the greatest hurdle is the Changhua Merchant Guild, the root of all this chaos, the ones who ruined this body and clan. First, I must prepare for the duel with Dabo on the 5th of next month. But before that, I need to somehow begin cultivating again from scratch. It reminds me of when I first learned martial arts. Back then, even breathing felt difficult. But perhaps this body possesses extraordinary talent. I don't even need to go through the process of sensing qi. Just closing my eyes is enough. Light emanates from the room, releasing a massive surge of qi. Noticing something happening where Mujin is, several servants rush over. Did something happen to the young master? They find Mujin collapsed on the floor. Has the young master finally passed away? However, he is still alive, and his pulse is far stronger than usual. Why did he suddenly become so healthy? Mujin suddenly blurted out, "Damn old man, what kind of body is this? Just forming a dantian is insanely hard." He then shouts, "Didn't you hear me? Does this body have a special constitution?" The old man replies, "Speaking of your unique body, I heard you possess the heavenly martial constitution. I remember a Shaolin leader mentioning that before. Right, the constitution said to be blessed by heaven to walk the righteous path." However, seeing the old man's strange expression, Mujin asks, "Why are you making that face?" Damn it. Suddenly feeling a sharp pain, Mujin realizes, right, this constitution directly opposes demonic arts. If the owner of this body tries to use demonic arts, the pain is so intense it puts his life at risk. In this world, there's the heavenly martial constitution, the heavenly killing constitution, the heavenly flame constitution, and even the heavenly longevity constitution. The servant panics. "Young master, please don't pass out." Mujin thinks of all the blessings heaven could send. Why this one? The duel is next month. This is a terrible situation. Mujin asks, "Who is that old man?" Masuk answers he is the head butler of the Yoma clan, named Bin, and Elder Wang. Mujin thinks their clan heir just fainted, yet they act so nonchalant. He then loses consciousness again. Elder Bong remarks, "It seems the young master's condition is deteriorating further. We should prepare ourselves." Mujin thinks, "I'm not dead yet, you fools. I just fainted." Later, rain falls over the estate. Mujin has been bedridden for 3 full days. When he finally wakes up, he prepares to head out. Masuk asks, "Please wait. Young master, are you really all right?" Mujin thinks, good grief. Lying still for 3 full days. This body is truly rotten. At this rate, I'll die before the duel even starts. Aloud, Mujin says, "Relax. You're making me look pathetic. More importantly, I need a sword for the upcoming duel. Go fetch me a few swords right now." Masuk answers, "Right now, we should be worrying about what we're going to eat tomorrow. Where would we get the money to buy swords?" Mujin reacts, "What? Is there no money left in this family at all?" Masuk replies, "We are currently borrowing money from a loan shark syndicate, and because of the ridiculously high interest rates, our debt is piled up sky high." Mujin thinks, what a complete mess of a family. Looks like we need to resolve this money issue first. He says, "In that case, just take out more loans. We're already deep in debt anyway." Masuk gasps, "No, don't tell me you want to borrow more money. Are you serious?" Mujin cuts him off. "Just be quiet. Write a letter to those 2 elders and send it to them. Just tell them I'm going out for a walk." Later, the 2 elders read Mujin's letter. Bin says, "The young master went to borrow money from the loan shark syndicate again?" Bong replies, "What's the issue? Won't the loan sharks just reject his application anyway?" Bin answers, "That's not the problem. If he provokes those loan sharks, that ruthless little faction might just end up killing him." Meanwhile, Masuk and Mujin arrive at the Loan Shark Syndicate. Mujin speaks up, "Hey big guy, tell your boss that Mujin of the Yoma clan wants to see him." The guard replies, "If you came here to gamble, don't say stupid things. Play quietly and get lost." The guard's name is Kong Nuho. Mujin says, "Can't you just call them?" "Fine, call your superior then." Kong looks enraged, but Masuk quickly intervenes. "Please, sir, our young master is just unwell." Suddenly, someone approaches and asks, "What's going on here?" Kong answers, "Brother, this man wants to see the boss." And the man holding the coin asks, "So you want to see the boss? What for?" "To borrow money." The man chuckles. "Turns out you're a customer after all." This man is Jumbo, the vice leader of the Loan Shark Syndicate. "In that case, there's no need to see the boss. Step right inside." As they all head inside, Masuk whispers, "Young master, let's just go home now. I have a bad feeling about this." Mujin replies, "We've come all this way. Why would we turn back now?" Masuk continues, "A few days ago, an old woman from the tea house market said she saw two assassins from this loan syndicate beating up a man. She said in an instant, those two split his chest wide open. I heard they are formidable martial artists who have mastered the moon-flying heaven technique." Mujin shrugs, "So? What do you expect me to say about that technique?" Suddenly, Jumbo interrupts, "It seems your servant is far sharper than his master. Though unfortunately, it's too late for you two to turn back." The two find themselves completely surrounded by men. Mujin asks, "Was this your intention from the very beginning?" Jumbo answers, "We couldn't kill the eldest son of the Yoma clan out in the open in front of a bustling gate. You can't even pay back the principal, let alone the interest. How shameless. I won't let you bleed us dry like your parents did." Masuk pleads, "Please forgive us. Spare our young master's life." Mujin mutters, "Like my parents? I never had parents." Everyone falls silent. Mujin catches himself, right? "I forgot I'm not in my past self's body anymore." The assassins turn to Jumbo, awaiting your next command. Jumbo nods, "Fine. Just rough him up a little." One of the men grabs at Mujin, but Mujin instantly kicks him back. The assassin groans in pain and collapses to the floor. Mujin remarks, "For a guy your size, your body is incredibly soft." He thinks, with his current body, this method is much better than a head-on clash. Jumbo barks, "What are you all standing around for? Finish him off already." The assassins charge at once. However, Mujin evades every single attack with effortless grace. "Since my physical strength is still weak, I should rely on movement arts for now." He slams his head directly into one of the assassins with immense force. Even as the others swarm him, he effortlessly dodges their strikes and takes them down one by one. Using his frail body to its absolute limit, he completely overwhelms the assassins until every single one is laid out. Masuk stammers, "Hey, are you all right, young master?" Mujin retorts, "Are you blind?" "I'm perfectly fine." Masuk stares in disbelief. What happened? Where on earth did you learn martial arts like that?" Mujin replies, "This isn't martial arts. It's a skill I picked up from living a harsh life on the streets." Masuk looks puzzled. "When did you ever live a harsh life on the streets, young master?" Mujin pauses, remembering his current identity, right? "I'm supposed to be a young master." Jumbo steps forward. "You're fairly strong. Then try dodging this." He launches a sharp attack directly at Mujin, grazing the side of his head. It's a coin attack. Jumbo scoffs at his fallen men. "Useless subordinates. Get lost, I'll handle this myself." Mujin sighs. "I just wanted to talk to your boss." "Is it really that difficult?" Jumbo replies, "Our leader isn't someone you can just meet on a whim. Now, your time is up." He leaps into the air, lunging straight for Mujin. Mujin parries the strike using nothing but a pair of chopsticks. "I brought chopsticks as a substitute since I don't have a sword," he thinks. The two exchange rapid strikes. Just as I thought, Jumbo is using a martial art that no one recognizes. Spotting an opening, Mujin thrusts a chopstick directly into Jumbo's hand. Jumbo reels back in shock. He didn't just block my attack. He utilized my momentum against me. This insane kid. He's like a rat. Mujin states, if you look down on these chopsticks, it will cost you your life. He unleashes a relentless barrage of strikes with the chopsticks, driving Jumbo completely into a corner. Jumbo panics. Didn't they say he couldn't use internal energy anymore? How can he be this strong? Jumbo attempts another strike, but Mujin easily avoids it. Is this really the Mujin I knew? Mujin speaks coldly. I heard my family was trapped under a mountain of debt, so I was curious what kind of people you were. Turns out you had the nerve to exploit us with such trashy skills. He continues pressing the attack, keeping Jumbo pinned down. However, Jumbo manages to leap upward, narrowly dodging Mujin's final strike. Mujin says, I'll show you the martial arts you've been looking down on. Jumbo shouts, Who said I was looking down on it? Enough of your nonsense. He unleashes the moon-flying heaven technique, driving a powerful strike toward Mujin. Mujin counters calmly. The only one talking nonsense here is you. He dodges the strike with utter ease. Jumbo is thoroughly stunned. How did he dodge that? What on earth happened to this man? Has he been hiding his true strength all this time? Before he can recover, Mujin delivers a devastating blow. Jumbo coughs. You rascal! How do you expect to pay for the consequences of this? Mujin replies, You know damn well I didn't come here to listen to your threats. If you tell me what I want to hear, I'll extend your lifespan. So let me ask you once more. May I borrow some money from you? Moments later, Mujin is seen taking a drag from a pipe. It's been a long time since I last enjoyed myself like this. Suddenly, Masuk snatches the pipe away. Young master, stuff like this is bad for your health. He immediately puts it out. Jumbo, sitting nearby while his punished subordinates cringe in the background, speaks up, Tell me what you wish to know. Mujin says, There's something I don't understand. Why would people like you, who refuse to suffer even the slightest loss, help our clan, especially without requiring principal repayment? It seems to me you have some kind of ulterior motive against us. Jumbo stammers, Why you misunderstand? Young master, what malicious intent could we possibly have? Mujin sneers, I can practically hear your brain working overtime, trying to invent an excuse. Think carefully. If you swallow more than 30 of these dice, you won't be able to make up any excuses at all. Threatened by Mujin, Jumbo finally confesses, We did it on orders from the Merchant Guild. Mujin nods, having expected this. I suspected those rats. So, what kind of deal did you make with them? None, Jumbo claims. Mujin's gaze hardens. You aren't Taoists or honorable warriors. If you're going to be loyal to someone, be loyal to your own subordinates. Even if your bodies are chopped to pieces and this place is burned to the ground today, the members of that merchant guild wouldn't care about you in the slightest. Jumbo finally breaks. We really did sign a contract. The merchant guild instructed us to lend the Yomwa clan as much money as you wanted, with the highest interest rates possible. They asked us to make it impossible for you to pay off the debt, as if you had fallen into the deepest well in the world. If we did that, once the Yomwa clan inevitably collapsed, they promised to reward us with the clan's land. Mujin says, So you're holding our clan's land as collateral. If so, how much will the 300 gold niang I'm borrowing today become in a year? Jumbo replies, according to the contract, about 5,000 gold. Mujin bursts into laughter. You clowns? Fine, let's talk about something else. Where are they currently, those unscrupulous minor factions? Jumbo answers, one of the members of the 4 heavenly alliances, the Sapa sect unit. They are that unscrupulous faction. Mujin asks, was there a faction like that in the 4 heavenly alliances before? Jumbo answers, yes, I heard they recently joined the union. Mujin mutters, for heavenly alliances, huh? Filthy hypocrites. Masuk whispers in shock. Young master, have you met them before to speak of them so harshly? Mujin waves it off. Ignore it. I don't feel like explaining. But why is the person getting the money taking so long? Just then, a man enters carrying a chest. I have brought the 300 gold. Mujin smiles with satisfaction. Very good. This should be enough. Let's go. Masuk hesitates. Are we really taking this loan? Mujin replies, just take it for now. As he steps out, Mujin turns back to Jumbo. Make sure you record this in the main ledger. Once your business with your big client is concluded, I will settle every debt I owe. Also, it seems you've been extorting money from the common folk as well. Stop it. If you keep acting so recklessly, you will surely be ruined. Jumbo replies, we will keep that in mind. But inwardly, Jumbo thinks, let's see who gets ruined first. Mujin leaves the premises and returns to his estate. Upon his arrival, he is greeted by the elders, who look at him in shock. Is that blood? Mujin replies, it's not mine. Ben asks nervously, what on earth happened at the loan syndicate headquarters? Mujin answers, I just borrowed some money. Didn't you say our family situation was dire? We need to feed the warriors of the Yoma clan too. We can't rest if our people are fleeing one by one. The elder asks, did you steal that money from somewhere else? There's no way the loan syndicate would lend us money again. Mujin responds, before I left, I told them to record it in the ledger. For now, the head butler just needs to focus on feeding everyone and buying new clothes for my younger siblings. All right then, keep up the good work. The two elders look at each other in utter disbelief, wondering if such madness could truly exist in this world. Later, Mujin stands before his family's portraits. He says softly, since I never had parents in my past life, I don't really know what to say. For now, our financial troubles are mostly resolved, so don't worry too much. From now on, I will take care of my younger siblings and the members of this family. Rest in peace. From behind, his two younger siblings watch him praying. Mujin thinks to himself, in a few days, I will duel the man named Dabo. Supposedly, we are fighting over some secret martial art belonging to the clan. But don't worry, I will snap the necks of every single one of them. The next morning, several men carry heavy wooden blocks into the courtyard under the young master's orders. Masuk praises them. Good work, everyone. Mujin appears and asks if everything has arrived. Looking at the weights labeled 50 kilograms, 80 kilograms, and 110 kilograms, he notes, everything is here exactly as I requested. Masuk asks, but what are all these for, young master? Even the warriors had a hard time carrying them. Mujin replies, what other use does a sword have besides being swung? It turns out the heavy blocks are shaped into giant training swords. Mujin thinks, to start with, let's try the lightest one, the 50-kilogram sword. As he tries to lift it, he struggles immensely. Masuk watches nervously. Can you really swing something that heavy? Mujin thinks, as expected, but I didn't think I'd struggle this much just lifting a 50-kilogram sword. This body is truly weak, but I can't just give up. Using both hands with all his strength, Mujin manages to lift the sword, his entire body trembling under the weight. He barks at Masuk, stop staring and get back to work. And from now on, prepare my meals with beef. Masuk says, I'm worried about you, young master. Ignoring him, Mujin binds the sword handle tightly to his hands with cloth straps. There's only half a month left before the duel. My current body possesses the heavenly martial constitution, which is completely incompatible with the demonic arts my master taught me. That's why the only option left is the sword style passed down by my master's close friend. It's time to learn the 9 swords of Dugu. He takes a breath and swings the heavy blade. This is the only way for me to survive. Meanwhile, Dabo is seen playing a musical instrument. He remarks, how impressive. Mujin managed to wipe out the loan syndicate. His subordinate responds, yes. According to the messenger bird, the loan sharks won't be able to move for half a month. Dabo ponders, Mujin doesn't even have a dantian. How could he possess such strength? I suppose his talent was genuine after all. Now then, I should prepare a small gift for our great young master, Master Hua Mujin. I truly can't wait for the day of our duel. Let's see all the secrets you have to show. Back at the estate, Mujin continues his rigorous training, moving with impressive speed and agility. So this is the heavenly martial constitution. If this body was truly blessed by heaven, it should be able to endure all of this. Everything I asked Masuk to prepare is ready. Training starts now. Grasping a massive sword, He executes the solitary nine swords technique, beginning with the first form, the acceleration form. I raise my sword and charge forward. Not even a mountain would dare block my path. He begins to handle the heavy sword with growing mastery. Moving to the second form, the breaking form. No matter what weapon attacks me, I will shatter it all. Suddenly, a wave of intense pain hits him. Only this much, and I'm already reaching my limit? No, I must endure it all. He kicks a heavy red ball, sending it flying at high speed. Closing his eyes, he attempts to evade it. This is the third form, sky-cleaving form. Even if the enemy's energy shakes the heavens, this sword will slice it in two. However, the ball strikes him squarely in the back, causing immense pain. Pulling a rope, several heavy bamboo stalks drop from above. Mujin easily slices through the falling bamboo. Moving to the fourth form, fort-cleaving form. No martial art can match this blade. Complex techniques will fail to counter it. Thus, this simple sword can break them apart. Not a single bamboo stalk touches him. Next, a severed rope releases giant wooden logs that crash down toward him. He adopts the fifth form, army slaughtering form. Even if a horde of enemies surrounds me, they will all kneel before this blade. An ant cannot defeat an elephant. In the face of pure power, numbers are irrelevant. However, one of the massive logs drops straight onto his head. Annoyed, Mujin mutters, "Nonsense." He moves to the sixth form, one/parting steel water. Even a leaf floating on water will be split in two by this blade. Swinging his sword rapidly, he checks his surroundings. Are all the obstacles cleared? Then next is the seventh form, one-twin earth, a sword that splits the earth beneath it. He swings his blade down toward an animal statue. If this sword can split the ground, size no longer matters. Yet the statue remains completely intact. He transitions to the eighth form, heaven-sundering form. Even the heavens can be split by this sword. Is there still anything I cannot cut? Finally, the ninth form, self-cleaving form. In the end, I have cut my own body and my own sword. I no longer have a reason to wield this blade. So in the end, all of this was merely an imitation. This is the final form of the self-cleaving form. A memory of his childhood resurfaces, his master training him and asking, "Have you memorized it?" Young Mujin replied, "I have. But can a sword style like this really be called a sword art? Even the descriptions are ridiculously absurd. Cutting the earth, the sky, our own swords, and even our own bodies? It sounds like something kids made up to look cool." His master chuckled. "I won't deny that. But should the sword legacy of my close friend end like this? I can no longer carry it, so I want you to take my place." He was the only swordsman who could rival me. Without using internal energy, he relied on a moving internal skill. He insisted on passing this down to someone outside any formal sect, because those within sects cannot master it fully. A moving internal skill is a low-tier martial art designed to build physical body strength specifically for movement, rarely used to expand internal energy reserves. Young Mujin grumbled. "A moving internal skill? What a trash method." His master smacked him on the head. "That's just the reality of it, so shut your mouth." To continue the explanation, if you execute this sword style thousands of times, your body will begin to transform. At 100,000 uses, you will begin to emit sword aura. At 1 million uses, only a handful of people under the heavens will be able to match you. Young Mujin calculated. So even if I practice 1,000 times a day, I'll only master this technique after 3 years. Was he really as strong as you, master? His master replied, "I can't say for certain, but if we fought to the death, one of us would surely die." Young Mujin muttered, "Now I'm curious about this close friend of yours." Back in the present, Mujin lies unconscious on the ground until Masuk shakes him awake. "Young master, please wake up. Are you all right? I was so worried when you wouldn't wake up." Mujin opens his eyes and glares. "I'll kill you if you hit me again." He thinks to himself, "What on earth? I fainted after using it just once. I haven't even reached 1,000 swings a day yet. I still have a long way to go." Masuk sets down a tray of food. "It's late, but please eat first." Mujin looks at the plate. Isn't this pork? Masuk answers. Didn't you ask me yesterday to prepare meat dishes? It's been so long since we last ate meat. Please enjoy it, young master. Mujin says, starting tomorrow, make me beef dishes. Beef is better for building muscle. If we're short on money, just use the funds from the loan syndicate. Tell the head butler not to worry. I'll handle the paperwork later. Also, until my fight with Dabo, I will eat 3 meat meals a day. Masuk hesitates. By the way, young master, since when did you know martial arts? Mujin replies, why? Is it strange? To you, a man who couldn't even function like a normal human being suddenly mastering sword techniques would naturally seem odd. Bong said, in that case, that man will definitely try to finish off the young master and then target the Emperor Yoma's inheritance. Bong continued, how about we run away before that happens? And he wondered, what do you mean? Bong said, think about it carefully. We can't let his 2 younger siblings be harmed either. And his 2 younger siblings could be seen watching their older brother training very hard with his sword. Mujin appeared utterly exhausted from swinging his sword every single day. Now I have built up enough muscle. I've reached the point where I can swing a 110 kilograms iron sword with one hand. But why is my sword technique still so unstable? The competition is only 1 week away. His younger siblings were watching their older brother train, and Mujin noticed them. What are you 2 doing here? It's dangerous here. Go play somewhere else. Suyin said, I was worried. I've been watching you for the past few days, and I'm scared you're pushing yourself too hard, brother. Are you doing this because of the rude things I said back then? I was really angry with you at the time, so I acted disrespectfully. Mujin thought, every time I look at these children, I am always reminded of them. Mujin then said, don't worry, there's no need to be concerned. Dujin said, by the way, Jin, your stance earlier was amazing. It was like this, right? You look just like a real martial artist. Suyin replied, it wasn't like that. Brother stretched his arms out a bit more. Mujin thought, they're imitating me. My younger siblings are so adorable. Seeing them reminds me of when I used to train with my master. His master had said, when swinging your sword, exhale for as long as possible. Don't rush. When returning to your position, inhale briefly and slowly. Do you understand? Then he suddenly remembered something. That's right. The most important thing in the solitary 9 swords is the pupa breathing method. I completely forgot Master's words. Mujin said to his younger siblings, you don't need to worry about me. I will definitely win the fight. Go back to your room. His younger siblings could be seen laughing happily, and then the scene shifted to a dark night. Rain was falling. When swinging the sword, exhale for as long as possible, then hold it. Don't rush. When returning to position, inhale briefly and slowly, then release all the internal energy in your body all at once. He immediately split all the falling wooden blocks in 2. He had finally succeeded. Then, pupa, a qigong that builds internal energy by directly moving the body, unlike other qigong methods that circulate energy through meditation. It is very difficult to expect significant development in the energy pathways this way. Because of that, pupa is classified as a low-tier martial art technique. To awaken pupa, the most important thing is a stable breathing method. Unlike before when swinging the sword felt difficult, my body is now gradually starting to stabilize by breathing in sync with the sword technique I am using. After repeating the sword technique training countless times in this manner, the energy that had been scattered for years gradually began to condense. Meanwhile, Masuk could be seen preparing meat for Mujin. Then head butler Bong came and asked, is the young master still at it? He replied, that's right. He has become a completely different person now. At first, the young master kept losing consciousness, but now those signs have stopped showing. The energy treatment he received from Mudong seems to have been very effective. Bong thought, even if it was a treatment from Mudong, someone's capability shouldn't improve this much in just 1 session, right? If any problem occurs, just let me know. Masuk immediately left him to deliver the food to Mujin. He looked very excited. Young master, it's time to eat. However, he was completely shocked when he saw Mujin and said, why did you become like this? Mujin suddenly spoke calmly. If I keep training here, it won't be enough. From now on, I have to use the main training grounds. He now looked much stronger. The next day, at the training grounds, Mujin seemed to have just arrived to train, and everyone looked displeased with his presence. Masuk said, "Warriors, the young master says he wants to use the training grounds." However, those people looked unhappy with Mujin. Mujin said, "Did you all hear that? Since I need to train alone, I will borrow this large training ground for a while. The space I need has to be wide. There is another training ground nearby, so use that one instead." Those warriors thought, "What is this living corpse talking about? Simply swinging a sword won't make someone a martial artist. A sword must drip with an opponent's blood." Mujin said, "The way you're looking at me seems quite challenging." One of the warriors said, "Even if you were the young master, doing something so sudden," but his words were immediately cut off by someone who told him to step back. He said, "Young Master Mujin said he wants to practice martial arts." The man's name was Cheol Boyne. He was the commander of the dead squad of the Yoma clan. The warriors finally left the training grounds. However, Mujin suddenly stopped Boyne. "Hold on, Boyne. If you have any complaints, just tell me directly. Holding it in is something only losers do." Boyne asked, "So what are you suggesting?" Mujin pointed his sword directly in front of Boyne. "What else should people who wield swords like us do when there's a complaint? Naturally, it should be settled with a fight." Boyne replied, "Young master, no matter how harsh the world is, there is no warrior who would draw his sword against the person who will become the head of the clan." Mujin sneered, "There is a saying that a dog that bites doesn't bark, and a barking dog is full of fear. If you don't want to step forward, then don't bark. Just live like a fearful dog with its tail tucked between its legs." He laughed mockingly at Boyne, and Boyne looked extremely annoyed as he began to draw his sword. He said, "Regret will not end well for you, young master." Mujin replied, "Yeah, well, I'm not the type of person who regrets things." The other warriors turned to watch their duel, and the two of them finally began to fight. Boyne launched his attack, but Mujin casually dodged it. He even jumped over Boyne's head and grabbed it before landing. The spectators were shocked by that movement. Boyne immediately swung his sword, but Mujin dodged it with ease, jumping here and there with great agility. Boyne said, "Stop dodging and fight me with that sword of yours." Mujin said, "That's true." He finally took his sword, and Boyne said, "I have been in this clan for 25 years, and because of you, our clan has ended up like this. Young master, now you dare lecture me about martial arts?" The two of them clashed swords. Mujin prepared to use the solitary 9 swords, second form, breaking form. The attack was strong enough to make Boyne struggle. He thought, "My internal energy is being shaken by this technique." Mujin said, "Everything you said is true, but from now on, everything will be different." He immediately struck Boyne with his bare hand, knocking him down and causing him to lose consciousness. Boyne wondered in his fading consciousness, how can this be? He, whose gaze was always empty, now has the eyes of a true warrior with a burning resolve. Everyone present was completely shocked. Because Mujin won the match, they immediately rushed over to their unconscious commander. Mujin said, "Now nobody has any complaints left, right?" One of the warriors said, "You loser. You know he couldn't face you with all his strength." However, Boyne suddenly regained consciousness and yelled, "Shut up." He finally admitted defeat and approached Mujin. "I have learned a lot from the young master." He then ordered his subordinates to move to the next field so as not to disturb the young master, and told the servant to leave as well. Then, one of the warriors who spoke earlier said, "Even if he is the young master, isn't this still too much? Commander, why did you hold back so much?" Boyne replied, "Hold back, you say? I fought him with near-fatal intent." Both of them were shocked. "Do I look like someone who just talks nonsense? Whatever happened, it seems our insane young master has received a blessing from heaven." Masuk thought, "A blessing from heaven? Huh? Since when though? But anyway, since the young master has changed, I suppose this doesn't matter." Then, at night, Techuabong and Bakeshin could be seen together. They appear to be praying to their deceased ancestors. "Tomorrow we will duel with the merchant guild. How many years has it been since I joined this clan?" Bong answered, "About 37 years." That's quite a long time. In his youth, Lord Yom was truly matchless. He appeared alone, and even the arrogant clans had no choice but to acknowledge his strength. Baeksin said, "Didn't you and I vow to dedicate our lives after being awed by his greatness?" Bong said, "But now you are breaking that oath." He replied, "I am not betraying him. We must continue his lineage and his martial arts legacy." Bong said, "I know. You don't need to convince me about that. Caring for the young master's madness for 17 years, protecting the clan, this is what withered along with him. Even if we meet Lord Yomj in the afterlife, he won't blame us. By the way, are the preparations complete? There isn't much to prepare, just a little silver to secure a new residence. Other than that, only a handful of warriors and 4 remaining clan tokens. Go." Even so, he is still of his bloodline. Someone must take care of his flesh and blood. A master employed by the Merchant Guild will be present there. He will witness tomorrow's duel. Bong said, "They act as if being thieves is something worth showing off. They intend to make it an official duel for the Merchant Guild. They are ruthless snakes embodied. They will burn this place to the ground until not a single root remains. Go and wait at the agreed location. Those 2 children will certainly be shocked by this." It seemed they were planning to escape with Mujin's younger siblings. The next day, Mujin was having breakfast. "Lately, the meat has been getting tougher. Is it just my imagination?" Masuk answered, "It's not your imagination. Cheap cuts of meat are always the toughest parts." Mujin said, "Don't tell me you've run out of money." Masuk replied, "How should I know? The head butler rarely gives us money." Mujin asked, "Are you mad?" He answered, "Why would I be mad over such a trivial thing?" Mujin said, "Then why are you talking as if we should run away and leave me to get beaten up? But forget it. How do I look today?" He answered frankly, "To be honest, young master looked better with the bandages still wrapped around you like before." And it seemed he was immediately struck for that comment. "All right, let's head out." Suddenly, head butler Bong asked, "Are you really going there?" Mujin answered, "You didn't come here to babble about the same thing regarding running away, did you?" He said, "Of course not." Mujin replied, "Good. Then wait here, I'll be back." After beating those thieves black and blue, Bong then said, "I will go with you." Mujin thought, "This old man worries too much. Besides, I'm the one who will beat them black and blue. I guess old people are always overly anxious." They then set off to the place where Mujin would duel. He looked very confident that he could defeat his enemy. At the arena, the duel between the Merchant Guild and the Yomwa clan was taking place. "Place your bets quickly." People were asking what the odds were, thinking that around 1 to 4 made sense. If you are a martial artist, it's better to bet on the martial clan rather than the Merchant Guild. They seemed ready to bet 2 silver coins on the Yomwa clan. Mujin arrived, casually eating candy as he entered the venue. Those who had previously bet on the Yomwa clan thought, "Can I cancel my bet on the Yomwa clan?" Mujin said, "I told you not to be late." Baeksin asked, "Even so, is it all right for you to eat that much before a duel?" Suddenly, someone came over and said, "It feels like it's been a long time, doesn't it? Regardless of our blood relation, I will ask you once more. Do you really want to go through with this duel?" The crowd wondered if the Yomwa clan had requested the duel first despite lacking the capability, acting so recklessly. Judging by how severe his madness was, it seemed the rumors were true. Mujin thought, "They are making it look like we were the ones who requested this duel. Looks like I'll have to make them pay a fitting price." Mujin said, "We cannot let the Merchant Guild confiscate our clan's secret martial arts. So, we have no choice but to fight back like this, don't we?" The crowd thought, so the Merchant Guild wants the secret martial art of the martial clan. That's why he proposed a duel. The woman thought, "I wonder how long you can maintain that composure." They entered the arena. "Attention, everyone! The witness for today's duel is Hanyang from the Kongdong sect. The duel is between the heir of the Merchant Guild, Chong Dabo, and the young master of the Yomwa clan, Hua Mujin. On behalf of the Kongdong sect, fight fairly and honorably." Everyone cheered, eagerly anticipating their fight. Dabo said, "It seems you received the item we sent." Mujin wondered what item he was talking about. Dabo answered, The clothes you are wearing right now. That is the Yomwa clan's martial arts uniform. I personally sent it as a celebration for the return of the great Mujin. Mujin said, "Oh, really? After this duel is over, all the remaining items will be returned." The spectators wondered, young Master Mujin is using a sword. Can swordsmanship really be performed with a sword that large? Isn't Emperor Yomwa famous for his barehanded martial arts? Baek-shin was shown asking Masuk, "Did the young master say something strange?" He answered, "I'm sorry. When I suggested that he had better run away, he got very angry. At that time, I was only joking. I myself believe with all my heart that our young master will win. Although running away might still have been the best option, the outcome might be different now because the young master has changed. But can such a sudden change really happen?" Baek-shin thought, "Has he been infected by the young master's madness?" The gong striker asked, "Are you both ready? If you are ready, start the duel now." The gong sounded, marking the beginning of the match. Mujin immediately leaped toward his opponent and attacked right away. However, Dabo managed to parry the strike. The spectators were extremely shocked by Mujin's speed. Didn't they say that young Master Mujin's madness was severe and that he didn't learn martial arts? Then where does that strength come from? Dabo looked annoyed and said, "Your skill is like that of a puppy." He immediately ran toward him and attacked. Mujin easily parried all the attacks, and their swords clashed against each other. A small explosion even occurred at the scene. They moved extremely fast and were now facing each other directly. Everyone cheered, thrilled to watch the fight between the two. Their swords clashed repeatedly, and the fight appeared quite balanced. The woman from earlier said, "This is surprising. Mujin is lasting longer than I thought. But still, compared to Dabo's martial arts so far, his skills fall short." Dabo dodged an attack from Mujin. He jumped upward and plunged straight down with his sword, causing a small explosion. However, Mujin managed to dodge the attack. Their battle was fierce. Dabo thought, "Mujin, this time I will cripple you. Breaking people's spirit is my specialty." He rushed straight toward Mujin, but Mujin held off the attack. Baek-shin said, "I thought the young master would be defeated quickly, but he is holding up quite well." Masuk said, "Although I don't know the details, perhaps the young master hasn't released his full strength yet." Baek-shin asked, "What are you talking about?" He answered, "I secretly watched his training. Something bigger and even stronger might be coming." In the middle of the fight, Mujin thought, "So far, my current capability is equal to his. Was that short amount of time not enough? Well, it doesn't matter. Since the past, no matter how strong my opponents were, in the end, I always finish them all off. I will finish this guy off too." Both of them looked ready to get serious and launch their respective attacks. The scene shifted to Chief Joe, or Bong, who was at a certain location, arriving with a horse carriage. "I finally made it here. Fortunately, the two of them were asleep, so it was easy to bring them." Flashing back to the night before he left, he had asked Baek-shin, "Are you really not coming with me?" He answered, "Mujin is still blood-related. At least someone must gather his remains. I will witness young Master Mujin's final journey." Joe said, "Then we will leave first. Let's meet at the agreed location." Returning to the present, Joe thought, "I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing." Back at the fight, the duel was intense as both traded attacks. Mujin thought his skills aren't bad for someone his age. But in the end, he's just an inexperienced brat. Mujin continuously pressed forward and attacked, forcing Dabo into a defensive position. The fight seemed completely even. The spectators could only stare open-mouthed at the battle, thinking, so the two of them can fight on equal terms. But young Master Mujin seems to have the upper hand. I heard that the second son of the Merchant Guild is an outer disciple of the Kongdong sect, but he doesn't seem impressive at all. Dabo looked extremely annoyed. He was truly struggling against Mujin and hadn't expected him to be this strong. When Dabo prepared to attack, both Baek-shin and the servant looked worried and told Mujin to dodge. Dabo used a technique called the framing step and launched his attack. However, Mujin managed to block it. Everyone fell silent. He was able to block an attack that powerful. Dabo looked furious, and Mujin immediately threw him back. Dabo retreated, saying with an angry face, "You really are a mad dog." They were truly about to unleash their full power. Baeksin thought, young Master Dabo is gathering all his internal energy. That must be his final attack. Everyone looked panicked and worried. However, Mujin said, "Wimp, even the way you gather internal energy is slow." Dabo was furious at being provoked by Mujin and immediately unleashed the nine-sword section form. Weapon destruction. Lightning flashed from his sword, but Mujin easily blocked the attack. Now Dabo was pushed back, thinking, I am helpless against his attack. Am I going to lose? Mujin prepared to strike for the final time. Suddenly, Dabo's sword cracked and appeared on the verge of breaking. He was struggling immensely against Mujin. Am I really going to lose to Mujin? His sword finally broke, and his arm was severed along with it. He was utterly shocked, and Mujin immediately kicked him hard right in the stomach, sending him flying at high speed until he slammed into the wall. Bu Choyan looked extremely angry because Dabo had lost. She screamed loudly, and it seemed he couldn't get up anymore. And the winner is young Master Mujin. Mujin picked up the severed arm and said to everyone, I take this arm as payment for the grudge from 17 years ago. Bu Choyan looked furious and asked, What did you say? Mujin answered, Besides, you are a merchant guild. Perhaps you can find a way to reattach his arm. Igong came down from his seat and went straight to Dabo. He held his stomach and said, His dantian is destroyed too. Bu Choyan approached as well. Igong asked Mujin, Did you really need to do this? Mujin answered, What do you mean? Igong said, There was clearly a difference in skill. The match was already over moments ago. Mujin replied, Oh really? Then it seems I should complain too. Wasn't it excessive to use the 7-1 strike on a 5-year-old child who knew nothing about martial arts? Bu Choyan was left speechless. Mujin answered, This is merely payback for what happened 17 years ago. From this moment on, you will pay the price for provoking the Yomwa clan. Prepare yourselves. He finally left the place. Bu Choyan could no longer stand. She was extremely angry and sad, thinking, I will never forget this. The spectators were shocked and stunned by the turn of events, then cheered for Mujin's victory. Who would have thought he could defeat an outer disciple of the Kongdong sect in just a few moves? I've never even seen swordsmanship like that before. A new martial arts master has been born. The spectators looked thrilled. Masuk and Baeksin immediately approached him. Mujin urged them to go home right away. When Baeksin looked at his back, he wondered, has the young master's back always been this broad? Mujin said, About that, it seemed he already knew that they were planning to escape. The gold I entrusted to you, have you spent it all? He answered, Of course not, my lord. There is still some left. Mujin replied, Looks like I'll have to drop by Sakengo again because of money issues. Lately, our meat quality has been a problem. And one more thing regarding Chief Joe and the warriors. I don't care if they want to leave the clan, but if they try to separate me from my 2 younger siblings, they will have to stake their lives. Mujin looked extremely angry. The scene then shifted to where his younger siblings were. Suyin said, Today is brother's duel. Why are you doing this? Dujin said, This time, I cannot forgive you. Chief Joe said, Wait a moment, let me read the message from the carrier pigeon. He was completely shocked and said, We are finished. The contents of the letter read, The duel was won by young Master Mujin. The escape plan has been discovered. Return immediately. They all eventually returned. Returning to Mujin, he said, While we're on the topic of money, it's time to settle it with a dead party. A dead party occurs when a debtor cannot pay their debt and is forced to hand over their remaining assets to the lenders. So it seemed Mujin wanted to round them all up. Let me handle everything. So, head butler Baeksin, you can rest. He replied, still, thinking, the martial arts duel yesterday proved that the young master is different now. But still, Mujin immediately said, You worry too much, old man. He answered, In that case, please do not get involved with the Sapa sect. Mujin understood. Then I'll be off. Masuk asked, Are you going straight to the Bangho sect, young master? He answered, Yes, no need to waste time dealing with this matter. Make sure you stay close to your big boss from now on. Do you understand? Then the scene shifts to the Bang Ho sect. Or is it a lone syndicate? That's right, guys. Jumbo greets him. You've come. He thinks, I never thought I'd see him again in this lifetime. I can't believe he crippled the second son of that ruthless merchant guild. Mujin says, I came to pay my debt. Your place is pretty quiet, huh? Did your business go bankrupt? Jumbo answers, not really. It's just that most of the gamblers around here went to watch your duel, young master. Mujin says, oh, so everyone watched me fight. He continues, you guys must have collected gambling money from my fight, right? Jumbo says, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to mock your face. Mujin replies, I'm sure the return ratio was very high on my side, and you guys made a lot of money from it, right? He confesses, why yes, Master Mujin. Mujin says, you guys must have gotten filthy rich thanks to me. Are you just going to stay quiet? Jumbo thinks, does he want to extort us again? Jumbo says, of course not. We want to thank you properly. Mujin replies, glad to hear that. Jumbo thinks that Mujin is completely different from before. The air around him is cold yet sharp, like a martial arts master filled with bloodlust. Mujin asks, all right, where is your boss? He answers, why are you looking for him? Mujin says, I don't like asking twice if you don't want to talk. Before he can even finish his sentence, the leader of the Bang Ho sect, named Isai Wong Wongle, suddenly arrives. Mujin asks, are you their boss? He answers, my men already told me about you. Mujin asks, why are you so hard to meet just to talk? Besides, your face is really ugly, and that kid behind you is also your subordinate. He looks truly terrifying, guys. The person behind him says, how dare a brat like you mock me? It turns out he comes from a social sect called the Dead Black Crows. So, you want my money, huh? Mujin thinks, so this guy is from a social sect. Mujin says, who are you to dare interrupt an adult's conversation? Are you looking to die? Crow laughs and says, try to finish me off if you can. He immediately leaps to attack Mujin. However, Mujin says, whether it's a social sect or whoever it is, anyone who stands in my way will definitely have holes put through their body. He instantly throws chopsticks, putting a hole right through his hand. Crow thinks, I thought he was just an ordinary brat, but he's no ordinary person. He says, you managed to injure my hand with chopsticks. You little brat. However, his hand can be seen instantly healing. Mujin replies, why is an old coot like you swearing like that? It looks like Crow is about to attack him again, but Mujin faces him directly. That attack is powerful enough to shatter the stone floor. Yet Mujin dodges it with extreme ease. Mujin says, look where you're aiming. He is right above him. However, Crow immediately uses his hands to attack Mujin. Once again, Mujin dodges effortlessly, even appearing to laugh and mock him. Crow is furious and thinks, how can an ordinary brat like him dodge my attacks this easily? Mujin attacks him directly and says, time to give your body a new hole. He launches a chopstick straight toward his eye. Everyone watching is completely shocked. Mujin remarks how refreshing the air feels. The chopstick pierces right into one of his eyes. He is in excruciating pain and says, you're the one who attacked us. The social sect will target you now. Your family and subordinates won't be safe either. However, Mujin steps directly on the chopstick. He doesn't care about the man's words at all and says, the social sect? Tell them to come if they dare challenge me. Besides, you're going to die here anyway. The man instantly becomes terrified and says, I'll give you anything. My wealth, my subordinates, please spare me. Mujin asks, why do you suddenly want to live now? I'm not interested in your concubines or subordinates, but the wealth you mentioned sounds interesting. Crow answers, it's all in Denong. I will definitely bring everything here. Mujin says, good. I like your attitude. But if you dare not return here, you'll be breathing through the holes in your face. He is truly ruthless, guys. Crow says, I will return as quickly as possible. The leader of the Bang Ho sect looks terrified, while Mujin appears furious. Time to discuss paying off your debt. The leader immediately begs Mujin for mercy. Please spare me too. I will hand everything over to you. However, Mujin says, what are you talking about? Your properties already belong to me. The leader asks, "What do you mean?" Mujin answers, "The profit you squeezed from the citizens was 7,000 gold, plus the cost of everything you damaged by overcrowding the martial arts sector. Combined, it equals all your assets." The leader says, "In that case, I will give you everything, including—" Before he can finish speaking, Mujin strikes his head. Mujin says, "Are you insane? Why do you keep offering things that are already mine?" He dies on the spot, guys. Jumbo is shocked to see this. Mujin asks, "Who is your deputy leader?" Jumbo immediately answers, "I am the deputy." Mujin asks, "Is that really you? I didn't expect that." Jumbo begs for mercy, saying, "I swear I will live honestly if you give me a chance." Mujin spares him and asks, "So how much is that guy's property worth altogether? His private house, brothel, and cash of about 4,000 gold? And what are the total assets of the Bang Ho sect?" Jumbo answers that if you count all the businesses, it's at least 10,000 gold, plus a tribute of 500 gold paid to the social sect. Mujin says, "Let's see. The Bang Ho sect leader has 4,000 gold. All profits will flow to me. The total assets of the Bang Ho sect are 10,000 gold. The tribute to the social sect is 500 gold. And compensation for emotional damage brings the total to 20,000 gold. That sounds fair." Jumbo says, "I will prepare the transfer documents and bring them here right away." Mujin praises him. "Very good. Let's process the paperwork and the gold here. Now it's time to negotiate the price of rations for you guys. I did say I would spare him, but I never said I would spare the rest of you." The assassins look terrified, guys. Then the scene shows Butler Bake. Having just woken up, he is completely shocked to see the chests in front of him. Mujin says, "I just finished at the dead party. Each of these chests contains 400 gold. Bake Shin says, "I already told you who sponsors the Bang Ho sect, didn't I?" Mujin answers, "The social sect, right?" Bake Shin asks, "Do you know who is allied with the social sect?" Mujin doesn't know. "Why, what about it?" Bake Shin explains, "Zhou Songgang from the Crimson Sword sect is sworn brothers with Dead Black Crow and Red Crow from the social sect." Mujin says, "Oh, you mean the man with the black fingers?" "Yes." Bake Shin asks, "Have you met him?" Mujin answers nonchalantly, "Yeah, I met him. I stuck a chopstick in his eye." Butler Bake Shin, "An enemy like that might be someone you can't fight, but don't compare me to yourself. If those troublemakers come looking for me, I'll just finish them all off. Please bring me beef for dinner, and make sure my siblings get proper food too. I'm heading inside." Bake Shin thinks Dead Black Crow is feared throughout Suin, yet he isn't afraid of a man like that. The incident during yesterday's duel was also suspicious. Is he really the young Master Mujin I used to know? Then the scene shifts to another location, the residence of the Merchant Guild. It seems someone is planning something. Bu Choyan orders someone to launch an ambush on the Yomwa clan. She says, "You're just a hireling, so don't talk too much. Like I said, bring back one child alive. You can finish off the rest if you want, but remember, that child must not die." Her hireling answers, "Understood. We will return before dawn." Bu Choyan looks furious and full of vengeance toward Mujin. "I will kill everyone you love. Just wait for my revenge." The narrative then explains, in the past, the Yomwa clan was once prosperous. Many martial artists died fighting a man named Yomj, and their corpses piled up on the clan's training grounds. Even the Tang clan of Suin admired his skills and character. In just a single generation, the Yomwa clan established itself as a martial family that could not be taken lightly. Even famous masters couldn't touch the warriors of the Yomwa clan carelessly. Back then, all the citizens of Seokang would cheer whenever members of the clan passed through the town. However, after Yomj's death, during the succession ceremony for the next clan leader, the foolishness of the new leader was exposed to the world. Because of that, the Yomwa clan faded, and even those who had sworn loyalty to the clan began leaving one by one. The figure of Yomj, who once ruled the world. To his allies, he was a great hero, and to his enemies, a terrifying master. He was truly worthy of being called a hero of an era. But why do I see the shadow of Yomj merging with young Master Mujin's back? Suddenly, someone calls out to Butler Bakeshin. They arrive in a hurry, looking extremely frantic. He asks, "What's wrong with you guys? Why are only you here? Where are the young master and young lady?" The warrior says, "There are assassins sent by the merchant guild. Chief Joe and the warriors are fighting them, but there are too many of them. Bakeshin thinks the young master and young lady are in danger. Quickly, inform young master Mujin. I will go there immediately." He runs to catch up with them. The scene shifts to a location where Chief Joe and Mujin's younger siblings are being targeted. "Looks like you're all that's left." Chief Joe tries as hard as he can to protect Mujin's younger siblings. The villain says, "I won't kill you guys, so think carefully. If you try anything funny, you might lose those two brats." Chief Joe is furious and prepares to face them all alone. Suddenly, Bakeshin arrives to help. He says, "Fall back if you still value your lives." The villains say, "Another bug shows up. Quickly, finish him off." They attack immediately. To think they only sent an old coot like this. There are many of them, but Bakeshin proves to be quite strong. Suddenly, he is about to be attacked, but he parries the strike. He is attacked from multiple directions and struggles a bit. The villains decide to handle the old man while the rest deal with the small brats. One of the villains attacks again. "This is your last day on Earth." He is slashed right across the chest and falls to the ground. The villain looks at the two children and asks, "Which of you should I kill, and which should I take?" Dujin steps out in front, and the villain prepares to slash him. "All right, if that's your wish, I'll grant it." Before he can strike, Mujin arrives and roars in fury. He looks completely enraged. He is the demon Mujin. The villains think, "It doesn't matter. We can finish him off too. If he interferes with this mission, just wipe him out." They charge directly at him, but Mujin instantly shatters his enemy's sword. In a rage, Mujin slashes him directly in two. He moves to finish off the rest. The villains panic. "Quick, finish him off!" They attack Mujin together. Mujin uses the solitary sword, fifth form, effortlessly slicing through every enemy in front of him. The remaining villain almost manages to attack Mujin, but Mujin dodges effortlessly and decapitates him in one swift motion. Only one person is left alive. Mujin severs his arm instantly. The man screams in pain and terror. Mujin says, "Don't move an inch if you still want to live." His younger siblings are safe. Suyin covers her eyes, relieved that her brother has arrived. However, Dujin covers her eyes again because he doesn't want his sister to see such a sight. She asks, "Brother has arrived, right? Haven't all the bad guys been defeated?" Dujin answers, "Yes. That's exactly why I'm telling you not to look." Mujin asks, "Are you two all right?" "They seem to be fine, guys. You must have been terrified, right?" Dujin answers, "I'm not scared because I'm the son of a martial arts family." Mujin rubs his head. "Good job, my little brother." He then tells Chief Joe to take the injured warriors and his younger siblings back home. Mujin questions the surviving villain. "How long are you going to cry over that arm of yours? You were sent by that woman from the Merchant Guild, weren't you? Answer me truthfully, and I might spare your life." The villain asks, "Will you really let me live?" Mujin says, "Don't make me repeat myself. I can finish all of you off, starting with you." The villain answers, "You're right. Bu Choyan, the head of the Merchant Guild. She's the woman who hired us through Sarambang. Will you spare my life?" Mujin replies, "If you don't want to die, hurry back to that woman and tell her that Mujin of the Yomwa clan has finished off the thug she sent. Tell her that from now on, I will hunt you all down until nothing is left." He looks enraged and determined to avenge everything. The scene shifts to Mujin walking through a crowd. People look at him in shock. Is he covered in blood? Who is that guy? That's Mujin from the Yomwa clan. Has his madness not been cured? It seems to have gotten worse. Seeing him walk down the street drenched in blood, no one dares mock or look down on him anymore. People gossip about Mujin defeating the Bang Ho sect single-handedly. They say he even left the second son of the Merchant Guild half-dead. Previously, people called Mujin a mad master. When he was young, even Shaolin came looking for him, calling him a child blessed by heaven. Could his talent be making a comeback? Now, they call him the hidden dragon of Seokang. Mujin arrives back at his home, where Masuk greets him emotional and relieved. Thank goodness you're all right. But why are you alone? Are you injured? Mujin answers, I'm fine. Is everyone else at the clinic? Masuk answers, yes, not a single one was left injured. The second young master and Lady Suyin are resting to recover their strength. Mujin says, all right, prepare bathwater for me. That night, while soaking in the bath, he thinks about his younger siblings nearly being kidnapped. He thinks about resting to recover strength. Normally, that's what it sounds like. It's not something young children from a martial clan should have to think about. Still, I don't want the two of them to see the cruelty of this world for now. If possible, I'd rather make them live seeing only good things. Those children, am I seeing someone else in them? He recalls his past regarding his lover and younger siblings. The next day at the clinic, Mujin asks Chief Joe about the flame art manual. Why are you so surprised, Chief Joe? Did I say something I shouldn't have? Chief Joe asks, may I know why you are asking about that? Mujin says, are you worried I'll relapse and destroy it instead? He answers, no, it's not that. Mujin says, right now, you can't teach my clan's secret techniques. Starting tomorrow, I will teach the two of them myself. Your face clearly says you doubt me. Chief Joe says, not at all. Mujin replies, no need to worry. There won't be any issues. He hands over the flame art manual. Good. I'm heading out now. You two rest up. Chief Joe asks, will this really be all right? Baek-shin answers, don't worry too much. You saw the young master's extraordinary swordsmanship, right? Thanks to that, we can receive treatment and recover faster. Lately, he has been progressing at an incredible pace. Honestly, it looks like he has almost fully recovered. That means the Taoist treatment actually worked. Chief Joe asks, does that treatment also enhance martial techniques? I've never heard of such a thing. His sudden progress is hard to explain unless he encountered something that changed his fate. Not just an ordinary encounter. He must have met a supreme master. There is no other logical explanation. The shadow that has loomed over the Yomwa clan for 17 years is finally lifting. At the Yomwa clan training ground, Mujin teaches his younger siblings. Among the techniques is the butterfly dance of Bebis. Suyin asks, I don't understand what that means. Mujin answers, simply put, it means facing your opponent as if freezing their feet in place, while your own movements remain free like a butterfly. This is a basic technique I created myself based on countless real battles. Suyin asks, that's strange. Chief Joe said you've never had real battle experience. Dujin whispers, you shouldn't just say things like that. Mujin says, anyway, that's enough theory. Let's begin the practice. You two attack me with the basic fist techniques you've learned. Both of them take their stances and launch kicks and punches at him. Mujin is shocked and thinks, what are they doing? What kind of pitiful posture is that? Are they really from a martial clan? Or is it because they're still too young? Still, this feels strange. They don't know how to balance their bodies or rotate with their lower bodies. They can't even perform basic body control. Mujin stops them immediately. My head suddenly hurts. That's enough for today. Suyin asks, are you all right, brother? That's strange. We didn't hit your head. Mujin says, your abilities are beyond what I expected. Beyond expectations in quotation marks, guys. For now, you need to strengthen your bodies before learning further techniques. Take a rest. I'll see you at dinner. Both of them look happy. Mujin says, this won't be easy. Master, you must have gone through tough times too. I'm sorry because of me, our clan's bloodline was severed. But I will restore our clan to its former glory, and I will revive its martial arts legacy. I will find that person, the one with the swordless mark whom I couldn't defeat in my past life. I will definitely finish him off, no matter what. Now I can even lift this sword with one hand. I can feel it, the energy in the air. With every repetition of the sword technique forms, my speed increases rapidly. A few days later, Chief Joe and Baek-shin return from the clinic. Mujin greets them. Good job. Masuk says, good job. You say, young master? Is that all you have to say? Do you have any idea what we went through to protect the second young master and young lady? Mujin says, who told you to lag behind? If I had been even a little late, you all might have returned in coffins. If this ever happens again, I'll put you in coffins myself. Do you understand? Both of them apologize immediately and think that he really has gotten better. Suddenly, someone says, didn't I tell you? Only I am allowed to treat the young master. With just a few more sessions, he will fully recover. An old man named Diangso appears. Mujin says, who are you? We don't have food for beggars. Get lost. Masuk says, mind your words, young master. He is the one who treated you. Masuk apologizes profusely. I sincerely apologize. The young master hasn't fully recovered yet. However, Mujin kicks him and says, that was indeed rude of me. I didn't recognize you. You must be hungry after your long journey. So please, come in first, Taoist. He shows a terrifying expression, guys. What is he planning to do? Just wait and see. The story shifts to a few days ago, when Masuk mentioned that the Taoist inherited the lineage of the Wudong sect. He is famous for his healing techniques and treating people. I don't know the exact details, but the butler paid a large sum of money to summon him here. Mujin thinks, oh, so he's the one. Please come in. He enters and talks with Baek Shin. Mujin says, I heard you inherited the Taoist lineage of the Wudong sect. He answers, correct. It feels a bit odd to say it myself, but I am the only Taoist who inherited the true essence of the Wudong sect's lineage. I am the Wudong White Immortal. However, Mujin gets right in his face and says, so you even claim to be the Wudong White Immortal. How strange. I've never heard of any surviving Taoist lineage from Wudong. The old man tries to deny it. That makes no sense. I am truly his descendant. Mujin says, listen to me, old man. You had better be honest while you still can. You won't get another chance. The old man says, what do you mean? Are you doubting me? Mujin says, go on, keep talking. Maybe I'll believe your words. He draws his sword. If you really are a Taoist of the Wudong sect, dodging this sword should be easy for you, right? The old man looks terrified. The sword is pointed straight at his face. What are you doing? Someone stop him. Masuk asks, young master, why are you doing this? However, Mujin tells him to shut up and bring a bucket of water. I'll show you something amusing. He splashes water directly onto the old man. The old man says, what kind of behavior is this? Does this clan repay kindness with insult toward their savior? Mujin grabs the old man's beard and pulls it right off. Everyone is shocked to see that it's a fake beard attached with very neat glue. You really are a skilled con man. You've got nerve trying to fool someone like me. You even tricked me. Masuk asks, young master, what are you going to do to him? Mujin answers, I can't just let him off. Cutting off his manhood and turning him into a eunuch sounds good. The old man panics in fear of Mujin and begs for mercy, pleading not to be killed. Mujin says, relax, I won't kill you. If you die, how can I get my money back? I'll just cut off a few things. The old man says, please, I still need my hands and feet. I will return all the money I scammed. Mujin replies, fine, but I'm still taking that useless manhood of yours. The old man pleads, please, anything but that. I'll pay whatever amount you want. Mujin said to the butler, how much money did he take from you? It turned out to be 50 gold. Mujin was shocked and furious when he heard this. How could you be scammed out of that much money? What on earth have you been doing all this time? The butler replied that he had heard the man was a great physician. Mujin snapped in anger. Enough, that's it. I don't want to hear another word about this. Start with the 50 gold. Give it back now. The man replied, I don't have the money with me right now. Would it be all right if I went back to Jinyang first? Mujin noted that it was a 4-hour journey and said, come on, lead the way. The butler asked, young master, should we come along too? Mujin replied, don't push yourselves. What could you possibly do with those weak bodies? Do you want me to carry your corpses back too? Stay here and stay out of trouble. Come on, fraud, lead the way. The butler and Chief Joe watched with worry, but they knew they just had to trust him. He was no longer the man he used to be. As they walked toward their destination, Mujin thought, I should have bought a horse. Isn't there any animal I can ride around here? The old man said, This is the carriage I took. Please get in. Mujin was quite surprised to see it. You must have scammed a lot of places. Impressive that you have such a nice carriage drawn by 4 horses. Once he stepped inside, he was surprised again by how luxurious the interior was, decorated with seats made of cotton and covered in leather. The old man explained, I travel all over the country, so comfort is very important to me. Mujin remarked, Idos, you're quite good at being a scammer. If you're this professional, why don't you just get an honest job? The old man replied, I will definitely do that after this. Mujin said, I'm going to sleep. Wake me up when we arrive. The old man replied, Understood, young master. But in his heart, he thought, Just you wait, you brat. Driver, let's move. They traveled until they reached a certain place. The old man got down from the carriage and called a burly man. There you are. He's sleeping inside. Go in and teach him a lesson. The burly man wondered why anyone would try to get in the way of a Taoist who worked to heal the people. This is the price you pay for your foolish actions. He prepared to strike the sleeping Mujin, saying, Don't hold a grudge against us, and hurled his punch at him. However, he was shocked when Mujin blocked the attack with his sword and asked, Are we there yet? Mujin immediately launched an attack. The man raised his arms to defend himself, but the force blew him backward with immense power. The old man was stunned and began to panic. The burly bald man said, So, the hidden dragon of Siokang. You aren't just a rumor after all. Mujin stepped down from the carriage and looked around. Since when did Jinyang look like a forest? Did you plan to target me from the very beginning? I thought you were just a simple scammer, but it turns out you had quite a thorough plan. I was getting bored anyway. This should be fun. Shall we continue our fight? Mujin continued. I really was bored. Let's see what you can do. The bald man immediately called out to his comrades. Everyone out. This guy wants to shorten his own lifespan. Several bandits stepped forward. They looked formidable and were known as the 4 demons of Zhongshan. Mujin remarked, You guys look truly hideous, as he drew his weapon. Sensing demonic energy from them, he noted that their weapons were quite decent, then unleashed his own aura, making them all tremble in shock. Mujin attacked one of them directly, but the bald man managed to block the strike. The rest of them were stunned by the force as the bald man was pushed back. Thinking Mujin was focusing on only one person, the others rushed in to help their ally. The bald man was completely overwhelmed by Mujin's attacks, feeling how heavy each blow was, and could only stay on the defensive. As Mujin kept pressing his assault, he said, I guess you're nothing special after all, and kicked the man straight in the head. Someone attacked Mujin from behind, but he dodged it effortlessly, counterattacked, and struck them in the stomach. The remaining 2 charged at him with their weapons, but once again, Mujin easily avoided their strikes, hit them in the gut, and sent them flying backward. One of them tried to block Mujin's blade with his own sword, but the weapon couldn't withstand the impact and snapped in half. Instead of finishing him off, Mujin simply kicked him aside. They had been utterly and effortlessly defeated. Mujin realized they were using demonic arts and wondered why practitioners of such techniques were here in the Central Plains. I don't really want to kill juniors who use demonic arts. What should I do? Should I finish them off? The bald man admitted defeat, immediately prostrating himself before Mujin and begging for his life. The old fraud thought to himself in disbelief. How could the 4 demons of Zhongshan be defeated this easily? The bald man said, After those first few moves you made, it was clear we were no match for you. Mujin asked, Why did you mess with me in the first place? Do you just enjoy getting beaten up? Fine, I'll spare your lives, but I will shatter your cores and destroy your meridians. The bald man bowed even deeper and pleaded, Sir, we were only following orders. Please don't end our lives as martial artists. Mujin replied, Stop whining like that. You're a grown man. Have some self-respect. Where did you learn your arts? The bald man didn't understand what Mujin meant, so Mujin clarified. Was I not clear? I asked who your master is. Calling what you use demonic energy is almost laughable, but it is what it is. There aren't many people in the Central Plains who can radiate demonic energy. Who taught you demonic arts? The man answered that their master was alive until last year, but they never knew his name. Mujin asked, "What kind of disciples don't even know their own master's name?" The bald man replied, "He told us to search for other disciples under his guidance." Mujin said, "Oh, I see. In that case, you should have kept a low profile and practiced your mediocre martial arts in peace. Why did you become thieves instead?" The man protested. "Thieves? We're not thieves. We were just helping our brother with his business." Mujin retorted, "Business, you say? You knew what kind of man he was and still chose to help him." The man said, "We thought saving lives was a good deed." Mujin cut him off. "Enough. Get lost and stop being someone else's henchman starting today. If I ever see your faces again, you'll regret it." They all thanked him profusely. Mujin added, "You'll have to pay their ransom, as well as compensate me for the stamina I lost and the mental distress I suffered during this whole ordeal." With that, they left the area. As they walked away, the bald man said, "Our master once told us that if we aren't bright and are easily fooled, and if we ever meet a strong and virtuous person, we should follow and serve them." All four of them were of one mind. Suddenly, Mujin's carriage came to a stop. Annoyed, he wondered why it had stopped again. What is it this time? But when he looked out, he saw the four of them prostrating themselves before him. The bald man declared, "We swear our loyalty to you. We will serve the Yoma clan until the end of our lives. Please accept us." Mujin replied, "I think you've lost your minds after taking such a beating. Who are you calling boss?" They answered, "We aren't even 30 years old yet. Please accept us, boss." Mujin was shocked. "You're not even 30? That's really hard to believe." Eventually, the four of them joined him inside the carriage. Mujin said, "I can't believe you're younger than me. 23 years old? Did you suffer chi deviation or something?" They replied, "No, we didn't." "Why is that so hard to believe?" Mujin told them to just forget it, adding, "Still, I can't understand how users of demonic arts could end up as warriors for a ruined Orthodox clan. Does that even make sense?" The bald man, whose name was Chielmach, said, "Master always told us that demonic arts are a way of life, not a faction or an affiliation." Mujin replied, "That's not wrong. But the truth is, what Orthodox family would accept demonic arts users? They'd face a massive scandal." Another man named Dongjuk answered, "Who would dare say such a thing? We'd smash their heads for you and rip their mouths out." Mujin thought to himself, "You guys are so naive. You remind me of him. I really like this guy." Aloud, he said, "If you want to serve this family, you must be willing to sacrifice your lives for the tasks I give you. Like it or not, you will have no freedom. You must obey like dogs for the honor of the family. Do you all understand?" They replied, "Yes. We will serve you with all our hearts, boss." Mujin said, "Fine, do whatever you want. As of today, you are warriors of the Yoma clan. But don't call me boss. Call me young master." After some time had passed, they arrived at a location. Mujin stepped down and noted that the place looked quite luxurious. It was the old scammer's house. The man's subordinates asked, "Master, what's going on?" The old man replied, "Don't ask questions. Just prepare food in the annex." Mujin interrupted, "Forget that. What are we doing here? We need to inspect your treasure vault right now." The old man immediately led the way to guide them. Mujin thought, so this is the comfortable life he lived with his scammed money. Suddenly, they were stopped by someone standing in their way. His name was Sajin. He asked if there was a problem. The old man said, "Brother Sajin, it's nothing. Please go back inside." Sajin replied, "You can't hide anything from me. Tell me who these people are." Before he could finish, Mujin cut in. "He told you to leave. Why do you keep meddling in other people's business? Judging by your clothes, you must be one of this scammer's guests. A guest shouldn't interfere in household matters." Sajin snapped, "Watch your tongue, young man." The bald man asked, "Young master, should I handle him?" The old man interjected, "No, this is just a misunderstanding. They are my guests. Let me introduce them. These are the 4 demons of Zhongshan, and this is the first young master of the Yoma clan." Sajin sneered. No wonder your tongue is so sharp. So you're the crazy eldest son of that clan. A brat from an orthodox faction wandering around with villains and intimidating the common people. How hilarious, Mujin replied. If you've had your laugh, then leave. We're busy, Sajin continued. Calling yourself a member of an orthodox clan while roaming with demonic arts users and threatening the people. Your grandfather must be weeping in his grave. What a pathetic piece of trash. Don't worry, old man. I am Sajin. I am no low-rate swordsman who would lose to trash like them. The old man felt a ray of hope, wondering if Sajin could save him. One of Mujin's subordinates spoke up. That's enough. Allow me to destroy his mouth. Please give me permission, young master. But Mujin replied, Calm down. I'll handle him myself. He leaped forward and said, So this guy knows how to protect his owner. Come at me, stray dog. Furious, Sajin charged at Mujin and attacked, but Mujin parried the blow with ease. As their swords clashed, Mujin remarked, You're not very strong. Sajin was shocked and enraged. Mujin moved with extreme speed, launching a fierce assault. Although Sajin managed to dodge, he was continuously pressed back, and his sword began to fracture. Mujin's subordinates observed, Once the young master pushes you back, there's no way to recover. At a glance, his sword looks stronger than my iron rod, which means it will shatter soon. Either his sword or his bones. Moments later, the sword shattered completely. Mujin defeated the man with effortless ease, striking him down with his weapon and sending Sajin flying backward. His subordinates had expected this outcome, knowing Sajin was far too overconfident. Mujin ordered his subordinate, Throw me your iron rod. Then he turned to Sajin. What did you say earlier? That my grandfather is weeping in his grave? Fine. Then I'll make sure he can't hear your screams directly from his grave. Sajin begged for mercy, but Mujin ignored him, preparing to beat him brutally. I'm going to finish you off, Mujin declared with a terrifying expression. He certainly knew how to beat someone properly, and it looked as though Sajin would die any second. Everyone present watched in utter shock. Just as Mujin was about to finish him off, the old man pleaded, I beg you, spare him. I am willing to pay for his life. He has connections with the Heavenly Alliance. We can't let someone like him die here. I will pay whatever price you want. Just please spare his life. Mujin asked, Is that true? So my guess about your worries regarding this man was right. You should have said so from the beginning. The old man thought to himself that Mujin was truly out of his mind. They all proceeded to the treasure vault. Mujin looked around and said, It seems you've managed to hoard quite a lot of wealth. Let's start calculating. First, those 4 men behind you are worth 500 gold each. The old man thought, Didn't he say he was taking them to his clan as warriors? Why do I have to pay for them? Mujin continued. Second, compensation for your limbs is 200 gold. Your life is worth 300 gold. Your noisy friend who wouldn't shut his mouth is 1,000 gold. Finally, the psychological damage and physical effort I wasted here comes to 3,000 gold. Overall, this is quite cheap. Hand over all your wealth to me. Do you have any objections? The old man replied, Of course not, while thinking that Mujin was worse than any bandit. Mujin's men began gathering the gold from the chests. Mujin instructed them not to leave a single coin behind. Suddenly, something caught Mujin's eye. He wondered, What's with this folding screen? I feel a strange aura coming from it. Is it just my imagination? The old man asked. Do you like that folding screen, young master? Mujin replied, Not particularly. The old man said, As expected, you have a sharp eye for these things. That screen is a work by Master Jang Sosin. I was concerned about your room being too empty, so you may take it if you wish. Mujin said, Oh, is that so? Fine, I will gladly accept this gift. By then, the carriage was completely filled with treasure. Mujin said, You won't be needing your carriage anymore, right? Since you have no use for it, it shouldn't be a problem if I take it. The old man replied, Of course, I am honored that you will be using my carriage. Mujin ordered his men to pack up and leave. He gave one final piece of advice to the old man. Live frugally from now on. Goodbye. The old man was left completely speechless, robbed clean by Mujin, and could only weep. What sin did I commit to deserve such a fate? Meanwhile, back at the Yoma clan, Masuk was stunned by what he saw. Wait, what on earth is this? Mujin and his men had arrived, and Masuk was shocked to see the burly men carrying massive amounts of gold. Young master, where did all this money come from? Don't tell me you robbed someone. And who did you kill? Mujin replied, Don't be ridiculous. You said we were short on money, right? Store all of this properly. By the way, how old do you think these guys are? Masuk answered, Judging by their build, they don't look like ordinary people. I guess they're at least 40 years old. Mujin said, I'll tell them you said that. They're going to love it. Where are Butler Bake and Chief Joe? Why aren't they here? Masuk explained, Some important guests have arrived, so they are greeting them in the reception hall. They told me to bring you there as soon as you returned. Upon arriving, Mujin grumbled, What is this, more guests? Did another scammer show up? Masuk replied, No, it's not like that. Please don't hit these guests, and hurry inside. Mujin wondered what trouble the two old men had gotten into this time. When he entered the hall, the hosts were surprised and immediately welcomed him. Allow me to introduce them, young master. These are the leaders of 3 merchant guilds who supported our clan during our difficult times. One of them, named Punkwin, leader of the Puyong merchant group, spoke up. I heard the hidden dragon of Siokang had awakened, and it seems the rumors were true. I am Punkwin, leader of the Puyong merchant group. Another introduced himself. I am Dong Guanan, leader of the Murian merchant guild. Seeing you looking healthy after going through such hard times brings me great relief. A third said, It has been a long time since I last offered my respects. I am Huang Yo-Yo Chong, master of the Golden Finance Manor. Mujin replied, Thank you. I am Mujin of the Yoma clan. Thank you all for coming. They conversed for a moment, but Mujin suddenly asked, So, the 3 of you came to collect our mounting debts, didn't you? Punkwin answered, We didn't come here to force you to pay. We simply came to congratulate you on your recovery. Forgive us if our visit made you uncomfortable. Mujin replied, First of all, I am grateful for the support all 3 of you have provided. But debts must be settled properly. I have just awakened, so I don't fully understand the clan's current situation yet, so please understand. Second, I want to know the total debt our clan owes to your 3 merchant groups. We need to know the exact amount before we can discuss a repayment timeline. Punkwin said, Everything you said is correct, young master. In that case, though I dislike bringing it up, let us discuss the total debt. 5,300 gold for the Puyong merchant group, 3,200 gold for the Finance Manor, and 1,900 gold for the Murian merchant guild. Mujin noted, So the total is 10,400 gold. Punkwin continued, Since this matter is out in the open, I also want to confess something. We have long been pressured by the Chonghua Merchant Guild. What they want is the power over the debt your clan owes us. That condition would obviously push your clan deeper into ruin, which is why we kept refusing their offers. But after the duel, the Chonghua Merchant Guild began using their financial power to crush us. They monopolized trade commodities and even forced all other merchant groups to cut off communication with us. They even seized our manors. They are truly shameless. Baixin gasped. I had no idea such a thing was happening to you. The guild leaders said, It's embarrassing to admit, but we can no longer hold out before we have to surrender those rights to them. We agreed to at least come and warn you. Mujin replied, We are grateful for your generosity. Hearing about the misfortunes that have befallen you deeply moves my heart. All those who clung to our clan during our glory days have left. Only Chief Joe, Butler Baixin, and the 3 of you continued to protect this clan. Although I am not a wise man, there is one thing I know. A debt of gratitude must be repaid properly. I will settle all of this clan's debts right now. They were completely shocked. Is that even possible? Mujin added. In exchange for all the debt and help we received, I will free you from the grip of the Chonghua Merchant Guild. Stunned, they asked, Young Master Mujin, does that mean you are willing to use force to liberate us? He answered, Of course. Baixin asked in alarm, Young Master Mujin, what are you saying? Do you know who protects that guild? It's the Gongdong sect, one of the strongest sects in the entire Murim world. Mujin replied. So those old men are the ones protecting them, huh? One of the guild leaders said, There's no need to worry, Butler Bakeshin. If you clear the debt, they won't be able to do anything further. For us, that alone is an immense blessing. We couldn't possibly let your clan fight the Gongdong sect. As I expected, the sleeping dragon really has awakened. Thank you for your kind words. I feel much more at ease now. We shall take our leave. May your clan prosper. After parting ways, Mujin turned to Butler Bakeshin. Gather all information on those rats, their finances, operational territories, trade goods, and even their connections with the Gongdong sect. Bakeshin was shocked. Wait, are you serious about what you just said? Mujin grew slightly annoyed. Good grief. Have you been screaming nonstop this whole time? Do you think I'm joking? I told you, kindness and hatred must be settled clearly. You heard what they did to those merchants, right? If we just sit idly by, we'll be their next target. Since things have come to this, we have to fight. Think about it. If we supported them for decades and this is all that came of it, will they help us again? Shouldn't we repay their kindness properly for once? They'll probably just think it's the arrogance of a crazy person. Mujin smirked. We'll see about that. Just then, one of Mujin's new subordinates approached him. Young Master Mujin, we have completed all the tasks you assigned to us. Mujin told them all to gather. Offer your greetings. These two are our clan chief and our butler. The two old men were startled upon seeing Mujin's new subordinates. Mujin introduced them. Starting today, these warriors will join our clan. The famous youths of Zhongshan, the 4 demons of Zhongshan. The 4 men bowed to the leaders. Mujin added, Don't be too surprised yet. There's something even more shocking. All of them are younger than me. The leaders were completely dumbfounded. No way. The 4 men looked hungry and wondered why the leaders looked so shocked. They assumed it was because of their presence, when in fact it was because they looked so old for their age. Bakeshin asked, Young Master Mujin, don't you know about the terrifying reputation of the 4 demons of Zhongshan? Why did you bring them into the clan without discussing it with us first? Mujin countered. Did you discuss it with me before sneaking my younger siblings out? If I agree, they can stay. If I don't, they leave. Don't forget that I am the son who will become the next clan head. Masuk, go buy me a cow. The butler replied, Regarding that, we have no money. You seem to have forgotten, but over 10,000 gold was just used to pay off our debts. Mujin then led them all to the treasure vault. They were utterly shocked to see that the scammer had so much hidden wealth. Young master, don't tell me you took all of it. He answered, Relax, I didn't take everything. I only took what was rightfully mine. The butler asked, In that case, what is this folding screen? Mujin replied, They said this screen is a work by Zhang Sosen and gave it to me as a gift. Even if we sell it at the lowest price, we can still get 90 gold. So, I decided to accept it. Besides, the screen appears to be authentic. And wouldn't this alone be more than enough to buy the meat? Yes, young master, this is more than enough. Then don't just stand there. Go buy the meat. With that, he immediately left the spot to buy the meat. Meanwhile, Mujin sensed that the folding screen possessed a different kind of energy. The next morning, at the training grounds where the warriors practiced, Mujin's younger siblings were also present. You must all be curious why I called you here so early in the morning. After everything that has happened recently, I realized that all of you need special training. The foundation of a swordsman is the user's body. No matter how incredible your martial arts are, they will be useless if your body is weak. So starting today, we will begin special physical training guided personally by me. I hope no weaklings remain in my clan. Before you right now is a rice sack weighing 144 kilograms. Starting today, that sack will be your loyal training partner. And let me make one thing clear. That rice is not for eating. If anyone is caught eating it, I will punish you. I am saying this because there is always someone who tries to eat it. Mujin's younger brother said, Why does ours look so much smaller? It seems to weigh around 15 kilograms. One of the warriors asked, What exactly are we supposed to do with these rice sacks? He replied, "Lift the sacks onto your shoulders." "Young Master Mujin, it takes at least 2 men to lift this sack." But Mujin answered, "Shut up and just lift it, unless you want me to beat you black and blue. My sword is too dull to cut your bodies, but a single strike is guaranteed to shatter all your bones. Choose, lift it or fight me." One by one, they began attempting to lift them. Every one of them seemed to struggle immensely. Mujin asked the 4 demons, "Are you playing around? Practitioners of demonic arts shouldn't be this weak. Each of you will lift 3 sacks. If you don't want to, then fight me." Terrified, they painstakingly lifted 3 sacks all at once. The leaders wondered, "What is this, young master? What exactly is your plan?" Everyone could be seen lifting the sacks together. "If you resolve to lift it, then you can lift it. Throw away those pathetic words like, 'Can I really do this?' Only death awaits you. If you fail, make everything in this world possible." Mujin's younger siblings were also struggling greatly to lift their rice sacks. "Good, everyone. Now start squatting and straightening your legs 200 times. Everyone, follow me." Mujin then gave directions to all of them. Mujin was also seen performing the exercise while lifting 3 rice sacks himself. "Tighten your abdomens and push upward. You useless excuses for human beings. Do you want to die?" The bald man was suffering greatly, thinking to himself, "What is this feeling? It feels like my body is about to collapse from my legs all the way up. If I don't endure this, young Master Mujin might beat me to death." He pushed himself to the absolute limit to survive this training. Seeing this, the head butler wondered, "What kind of training method is this? Just watching it exhausts me. With bodies that small, they are actually managing to endure this long." Mujin was seen scolding them. "You act like martial artists, but so far you've done nothing but consume the clan's food. And now you complain about this light training? People like you don't deserve to live here. Anyone who complains will fight me." Time passed. By late afternoon, they were utterly exhausted, and one of them finally collapsed. Mujin said, "The warm-up alone took all day. You want to practice martial arts with that pathetic stamina? Today's training ends here, but from now on, you will become one with those rice sacks. Eat with the sacks, train with the sacks, and even sleep with the sacks. Keep carrying those sacks with you. If you ask until when, until I tell you to put them down. You, Sosen, tie all of them together with their sacks using rope. Anyone who unties that rope will have their life untied by me. Remember that well." The bald man, Sosen, thought this feels strange. "But for today, I just hope I can see my mother's face again." Mujin said to Masuk, "Starting today, make sure everyone eats beef with every meal." Masuk understood and asked, "Should I prepare your bathwater as well?" Mujin replied, "No need. I will let you know later." Finally, Mujin entered his room. He was also completely exhausted and collapsed. That evening, everyone was eating while still carrying a rice sack on their backs, including Mujin's younger siblings. They were trembling so violently that even lifting their chopsticks was a struggle. They wondered, "Isn't this strange? We only trained our legs, but somehow my hands are shaking too." The others were asking the exact same question. This never happened when we trained under our previous master. The next day, what looked like torture, or rather, the continuation of their training, resumed. They were seen doing push-ups at the training ground. Mujin was full of energy, even scolding someone for improper form. "Straighten your back. There are still 120 reps left." The captain of the warriors thought as he watched them all doing it. "What on earth are these monsters?" The following day, they were seen doing duck walks led by Mujin, who joined in as well. They circled the village while the villagers watched, wondering what on earth they were doing. The day after that, they were ordered to overhead press the sacks with both hands. "Push faster. Do you want to train all day again? Anyone slower than me gets another sack." They were struggling immensely, but Mujin's younger siblings were still keeping up with this training session. Mujin looked at them and thought, "The fact that they can follow along this well is beyond my expectations. Should I increase the difficulty?" Next, they were shown at a large river. They were brought to the location, looking relieved. Mujin said, "Your bodies are hot, right? Time to cross." Right there were massive water waves flowing directly toward a waterfall. However, Suyin thought it would be refreshing, only to realize her older brother couldn't swim. She thought, Suyin has changed. The way you talk changed after receiving all that training. Suyin said, shouldn't we tell Brother Mujin about this? Butler Joe said, young Master Mujin, this training is impossible. The current is far too strong. This place is famous for being dangerous, even when crossing empty-handed. Mujin replied, good grief, you old men worry too much. Relax, everything was tested before we cross. Butler Bakeshin asked, since when have you ever tested this kind of training? Mujin turned to everyone and asked, all of you, do you want to cross this river or fight me? Choose one. Everyone immediately plunged into the river, with Mujin diving in first, followed by the rest. A warrior, the bald man, and his companion stood there wondering what to do. But the bald man replied, the chances of survival are higher if we choose to cross rather than fight young Master Mujin. The two of them jumped in right after, followed by the other members. There's no other choice, we have to follow them too. However, a few were still terrified. What do we do? If you're not going to jump, don't block the way. Suyin said, do you really want the young master to finish you off? Stand aside, I'll go first. Dujin was shocked. I could never say something like that to brother. I am also a warrior of this clan. Dujin finally jumped from the spot. I will never back down that easily. The leaders were extremely worried about him, since he couldn't swim. Mujin shouted to everyone, if you let your guard down, you will really die. Keep moving your legs and arms without stopping. However, Dujin was struggling severely. He thought, I can do this. I can definitely do something like this too. He tried to swim, but started sinking. I can definitely do it. He fought with all his strength, but the current dragged him away. The leader shouted loudly, young Master Dujin is being swept away by the current. Mujin heard it, but someone called out, let me handle it, and immediately went to save him. I've got you. Breathe. When I give the signal, take a deep breath and hold on tight. It's too far to go back, so we'll keep going forward like this. Get ready. The two of them went straight down the waterfall. The leaders worried desperately whether they would survive. Fortunately, both of them emerged safe. You did well out there, he replied. Thank you for saving me. It was nothing. Suddenly, Mujin appeared behind him. Are you all right? Are you hurt? Dujin answered, I'm fine, brother. Luckily, someone saved me. Mujin said, don't push yourself too hard. Following along is good, but if something happens to you, all this training becomes meaningless. However, Dujin said, I can't remain a child forever. I will follow through to the end. That way, I too will become a martial artist of the Yomo clan. Mujin smiled with satisfaction. Truly remarkable determination, young Master Dujin. The leaders looked relieved that everyone survived safely. Next, their training was shown to be climbing a steep cliff. Mujin said, if you fall, you might never get your bones back. So climb this cliff with all your strength. One of them thought, these people are out of their minds. I shouldn't have followed them from the start. Suddenly, he slipped and fell, but managed to grab onto someone's rope. He pleaded for help. Please help me. In the end, both of them made it safely. Once they finished training, they headed back to the residence. Mujin said, if anyone falls behind, I'll force you to run again. A young child nearby asked his mother, Mom, are those people death row convicts? The mother answered, those are warriors from the Yomo clan. Dujin and Suyin were still following the training, but Suyin was so exhausted that she eventually collapsed. Lady, are you all right? Chief Joe offered to carry her for a moment, and she was carried because she had no strength left. Seeing them stop, Mujin immediately scolded them. Hey, what are you doing? If you want to faint like that little girl, I'll let you, but your lives are on the line. Why aren't you running? When they finally arrived, they were utterly spent. I feel like I'm going to die. Suddenly, someone spoke up. You always lag behind during every training session and can't even meet your own quota. How long are you going to stay like that? How long do I have to suffer the consequences because of you? If you can't handle it, just crawl. Don't burden the rest of us. Did you hear me? But he replied, I feel like I'm dying. You think I'm doing this because I want it? I've wanted to quit being a warrior for a long time. But if I say that to the young master, the man snapped, are you afraid of being beaten to death if you give up? So that's why you curl up every time like a rotting corpse. From what I see, you're not fit to live as a warrior. Fine, I'll end your suffering right now. The man cowered in fear. Why are you doing this to me? But the captain immediately stopped them. Not everyone can be like you. The man struck the captain and shouted, then don't live as a warrior of this clan in the first place. Stand up. I'll finish you off first. As he raised his fist again, Sosin stopped him. Like our brother said, that man is trying his best in his own way. Since they joined this clan, they are our brothers too. So stop right here. The man retorted. What? Brothers? How can someone like this be called a brother? Even after seeing it with your own eyes, you still call him a brother? How much longer do we have to continue this foolishness? Do you really think we can become strong this way? This isn't what we wanted, Sosin answered. The young master has been doing this for years longer than us. Everyone's capacity is different, but this won't be as meaningless as you think. So say that only after you've surpassed the young master. The man finally walked away, saying, if another situation arises that puts me at a disadvantage, you better know that you'll die by my hands before you die by the young master's. Later, as he was heading to the restroom, he thought, what was that sound? Who was still training this late at night? It turned out to be Mujin practicing his marksmanship with a sword. He was stunned to see Mujin training. He trains even harder than us. Unable to believe what he was seeing, he snapped back to reality. His subordinates watched in complete awe of Mujin's skills. He looks so fast and graceful with the sword. Not only is he fast, but he's also full of power while remaining elegant. Our ages aren't that far apart. How can he execute swordsmanship like that? Is that the realm of a genius? Mujin stopped practicing, noticing someone peeking at him. Come out before I smash your head in, he commanded. The subordinate stepped out and said, it's me, young master. Mujin asked, what are you doing there? He replied, I was just returning from the restroom. I had no intention of peeking. Mujin said, whatever. Put down that rice sack and grab the sword beside you. He immediately picked up the sword to spar with Mujin. Come at me then. The two crossed blades immediately, but Mujin parried the attacks effortlessly. The subordinate struggled, launching a barrage of relentless strikes, yet none connected. He thought, I knew this wouldn't work, but is this really my sword? Has my sword always been this fast? Mujin thought, finally, someone is becoming somewhat useful. But aren't you focusing too much on what's in front of you? He struck his sword directly against his subordinate's shoulder, sending him falling to the ground, but the man immediately got back up. Just as I expected, Mujin said, before, you would have been sent flying with a single strike like that. Your endurance has improved significantly. The subordinate replied, now that I think about it, the impact was huge, but it's still not enough to incapacitate me with one blow. Mujin told him to call it a night and get some rest. The subordinate still couldn't believe the current strength of his sword. Why has his progress been so rapid just from lifting rice sacks? The next day, Mujin declared, now, core training. Everyone clamp the rice sack between your thighs and hold it tight. A long line of subordinates waited for their turn. They struggled immensely to lift the sacks using their legs, but they pushed through with everything they had to avoid being hit by Mujin. The onlookers were shocked. You're amazing, holding that sack between your legs like that. Motivated by sheer determination, they ran through the village. One subordinate was on the verge of fainting from exhaustion, thinking, if I faint here again, I'll definitely get beaten up by him. But that same man told him, endure it, there's not much time left. He had become kinder, realizing he had been wrong before. Seeing this, Mujin felt pleased. A month passed like that, and the training was finally coming to an end. You all endured well. This special training session is officially over. Everyone, untie the ropes and drop your sacks. They cheered in joy, but Mujin interrupted them. Sorry to ruin your fun, but we will conduct this same training every summer and winter. The next session will be this winter. A few months from now, the only comfort I can offer you is training that will be easier than this, because experiencing it is essential. Alright, even though training is over, I hope you don't forget that a strong body makes a strong sword. Do you all understand? Now, from this point on, I will conduct tactical sparring to deepen your experience even further. Those whose names are called, step forward with your weapon of choice. Their happiness lasted less than 15 minutes. They were beaten and knocked unconscious by Mujin, enduring what felt like eternal suffering. But time turned into experience, and experience brought change. The demonic cultivators, once known as the Four Demons of Zhongshan, became martial arts instructors for the Yomo clan. Slowly but steadily, the clan began to regain the magnificence of the martial arts family that once shone brightly over Xiaokang. Dujin was seen sparring with the Four Demons of Zhongshan, executing a kick strike. Good young master, try rotating your pivot foot upon impact. It will deliver a stronger shock. The leaders were overjoyed to see the young master's growth. Look at that. Young Master Dujin seems to have regained his spirit. I'm so grateful. It's been a long time since I saw that expression on his face. Who would have thought he could get along with the Four Demons of Zhongshan? But the biggest factor is still young Master Mujin, who restored his strength and stabilized the clan. Everything is going smoothly. It almost makes me nervous, though it feels like his madness is flaring up again. I wonder if he will come out of the storage room today. Inside a storage room, Mujin was exerting a massive amount of internal energy, thinking, has it gotten better? As expected, this folding screen is no ordinary object. The more internal energy I release into it, the stronger the energy it sends back. Let's see who wins. Mujin shouted loudly, looking as though he wanted to smash the folding screen to pieces. But when he got close, he merely touched it, and suddenly a green bottle popped out from inside the screen. He wondered what on earth it was. What weird people. Why would they install a mechanism like this inside a folding screen? No wonder I kept sensing a poisonous energy coming from it. So this was the source. However, he also noticed a book inside and wondered what it could be. Written on it was mind-suffering sword art. Oh, so that's it. This is what they were trying to hide. Let's see what's inside. After some time had passed, Mujin, who had high hopes for the book, thought, this is only on par with one of the 10 great martial masters of Hubei. Still, it's not a complete waste of time. Looking at its execution and cultivation method, compared to me since I use movement arts, this would be more suitable for the Yomo clan. The reason I couldn't teach those kids my swordsmanship was because of the difference in our foundational cultivation methods. The foundation of 9 swords is movement arts, whereas the foundation of this clan is energy-based martial arts. Those two energies possess opposing natures, so combining them recklessly would result in chi deviation. That's why its basics can be passed down to sectless beginners. I suppose I can call this good luck. Since my body's energy core was destroyed and left in an empty state, I was able to start with movement arts without any issues. Good. From now on, this will be the swordsmanship of the Yomo clan. Later, Mujin handed it to the head butler. I found this, and I think it's a pretty good martial art. Read it. The head butler was utterly shocked. My goodness. If this is truly the original manual of the mind-suffering sword that vanished over 10 years ago, then it is a high-tier martial art. To think this manual was actually inside that folding screen. Mujin said, yeah, that guy probably never imagined something like this was inside it. Baixin asked, do you intend to teach this to the warriors? He replied, we don't have a single proper sword technique anyway, so this will definitely work. Starting tomorrow, I will personally train the warriors myself. Though I'm still not sure if those instructors will want to learn it or not. I'm going to sleep first. If you two want to learn it as well, copy it down somewhere else first. Both of them looked overjoyed. Mujin thought, those old men are so noisy early in the morning, as he hadn't slept since last night. Indeed, it wasn't just Chief Joe and head butler Baixin who looked happy. The warriors were also thrilled, like fish finally finding water. Even though they belonged to the so-called Yomo clan, the clan lacked a high-tier martial art uniquely their own. Because of this, a high-level manual like the mind-suffering sword art brought them even closer together. The same applied to Dujin and Suyin, who had just begun learning the Yomo clan's secret martial arts. As expected, the Four Demons of Zhongshan only refined their own existing martial arts. They trained hard in their own way, and even without the mind-suffering sword, they possessed more than enough ability to rise to the rank of martial master. Although it was unclear how much time was needed, a month quickly passed. Mujin was seen standing at the training grounds, thinking, after switching their martial arts training, they look much happier, especially those two kids. It makes sense, since they can feel their progress day by day. As martial artists, they are actually quite extraordinary. It's nice seeing them like this. But why isn't anyone here? Suddenly, Masuk ran over and called out to him. So this is where you were, young master? Mujin asked why there was no one around. Masuk replied, Don't you know, young master? Today is the day of the sparring tournament, the Little Dragon Ascension Tournament. You must have forgotten again. It's the biggest event in Seokang, held once every 5 years. If you win, you qualify to enter the Orthodox Murim Tournament. You know that, right? Mujin immediately dashed away, leaving the spot behind. If there was an event like that, you should have told me sooner. Those guys really wanted to enjoy everything by themselves. He sprinted toward the location at extreme speed. At the venue, Butler Baek-shin was present. Please write your name on the participant list next. Dujin and Suyin also looked excited. Suddenly, someone walked up and said, Look who it is. Aren't you from the Yoma clan? Since you didn't show up during the Seokang martial arts tournament, I didn't expect to see you here. The two newcomers were the head butler of the Baek clan named Jang Sai-won, and the young boy beside him named Baek Se-yeon. Baek-shin immediately greeted him. Head butler of the Baek clan, long time no see. Certain things have been happening within our clan recently, so we rarely come out. Jang Sai-won replied. News regarding the Yoma clan situation is hardly anything new, but it seems your lives have improved recently. Who would have thought you could afford the entry fee for the Little Dragon Ascension Tournament? Do you even have money left to eat tomorrow? You've paid 10 years' worth of backlog membership fees, haven't you? Isn't it a bit much to bring young masters who are practically starving to death here? Baek-shin looked annoyed, as did Mujin's younger siblings. Meanwhile, standing atop a nearby building, Mujin thought, I should have asked Masuk where the venue was before I left. Where on earth is it? Below, two people dressed in green robes appeared. The crowd around them took notice, recognizing one of them as a woman. She remarked, So this is Seokang. It's quite lively. Suddenly, Mujin bumped right into her. Don't stand in the middle of the road. Move aside. Seriously, where is this place? I still haven't found it. He then asked the woman, Do you know where the Little Dragon tournament is being held? The woman looked annoyed at Mujin for bumping into her and answered, Sorry, we just arrived here ourselves. The old man beside her added, We are also walking around looking for it. Young man, if you find it first, would you mind letting us know? Mujin immediately sped off, saying, You have legs, look for it yourselves. Don't block my way. He vanished at incredible speed. The two exchanged bewildered looks. What is his problem? I've never seen someone so rude before. The old man beside her remarked, It's not just his appearance. His actions and habits are a complete mess. It seems his family's madness has been passed down to that child. The woman gasped in surprise. Grandfather, could he be? Mujin? The grandfather replied, Yes, that's right. He is the grandson of Jotae from the Yoma clan, named Hua Mujin. Fortunately, I came here in person. It seems a huge storm is about to hit Seokang. Back where Chief Joe was standing, the tension in the air escalated, looking as if a fight might break out at any moment. Chief Joe stated, Not long ago, young Master Mujin recovered from his condition, and our clan situation has improved. The overdue membership fees will be paid as soon as possible. This is not something you need to concern yourselves with. The man sneered. When do you intend to pay it? 10 years from now. Still, that's good news to hear. Seeing them participating as well. Does that mean they've inherited the secret martial arts? It seems you no longer follow the ancestral rule of passing down secret martial arts only to the eldest son. Even though you just said young Master Mujin recovered, I think you're rushing too fast to return to normal. He burst out laughing at them. I can't wait to see that magnificent red fire martial art. He motioned as if reaching for his weapon. Baek-shin said, We are in front of the children. Please stop your insults. Even patience has its limits. The man retorted. It seems you still hold on to your pride despite your situation. I challenge you to draw your sword. Just as they were about to clash, Mujin suddenly stepped in and stopped the man. The man said, "Oh, who are you?" "Ah, you're that famous crazy young master, aren't you? I've heard a lot about you." However, Mujin paid no attention to him and turned to his younger siblings instead. "Why didn't you say anything about this? You should have told me if there was an event like this." His younger brother replied, "We wanted to surprise you by winning this event." Mujin held his head in frustration and said, "You guys really drive me crazy. A martial clan is supposed to show off its martial arts. If you show off your wealth, people will look down on you. A true martial artist should trust in his sword. How can a martial artist put his faith in gold instead?" The man burst out laughing again and said, "How dare you say that? You certainly speak your mind, don't you?" The person beside him flared up in anger. "What did you say?" The old man in green robes spoke up. "Listen, since today is a special day, how about we sheath our swords for now?" The man in white shouted, "Old man from the Yoma clan, don't interfere and get lost." The woman murmured, "This guy is quite insolent." The man continued mocking them. "It seems you came here to support your younger siblings. You should have bought them new clothes first. Did you run out of money after paying the entry fee?" The leaders looked furious at his babbling. The old man in green said, "Dressing nicely won't transform a weak martial artist into a master." The man snapped back, "Why do you keep meddling, old man? Enough. There's no point talking to someone who doesn't understand. Let's see that extraordinary ability you claim to have on the arena stage." Mujin glared at him. The old man in green said to Mujin, "Don't take it to heart. No matter where you go, people like him always exist." Mujin replied, "Yeah, you're right." They exchanged glances, while Chief Joe thought to himself, "That old man, for some reason." Chief Joe thought to himself, "He looks so familiar. Is it just my imagination?" Just then, an event staff member approached them and said, "Are you from the Yoma clan? Right this way. We have prepared seats for you." As they entered the venue, Mujin was taken aback. The area was packed with people, and a grand feast had been laid out for them with delicious food. His younger siblings were thrilled. Chief Joe gently reminded them, "Don't overindulge if you plan to eat. We don't know when the matches will start." Meanwhile, a servant escorted members of the Bake clan to the VIP section. It turned out the arrogant group from earlier belonged to the Bake clan. Their leader smirked mockingly at Mujin. Mujin's anger flared as he thought, "When can I beat that guy to a pulp? First, I'm going to gouge out one of his eyes." Suddenly, the old man in green robes stepped up and asked, "Looks like these seats are empty. Mind if I join you?" Mujin wondered, "Why does this old guy keep following us around?" He nonchalantly replied, "Whatever." Suyin looked excited, but Mujin immediately sent a telepathic message to his group. "Everyone, stop eating. Don't touch the tea or the wine." Chief Joe was caught slightly off guard by the directive. The young woman with the green-robed man poured a drink for her companion, encouraging him to sip. He turned to Mujin's group and asked, "Why aren't you holding your cups? Have a drink." Chief Joe replied, "I've already eaten. Please don't mind me." At that moment, a man stepped into the center of the arena and announced, "From the bottom of my heart, I thank you all for attending the Little Dragon Tournament, held once every 5 years. I am Suk Eldo, head of the Suk clan of Seokang. We have prepared food for everyone, so fill your bellies and enjoy today's matches." However, Suk Eldo suddenly froze upon spotting the old man in green. "Wait, sir, what are you doing here?" He immediately bowed in deep respect. "Allow me to pay my respects. I am Suk Eldo, head of the Suk clan." The green-robed man replied, "You recognize me?" Suk Eldo answered, "How could I fail to recognize the face of the esteemed Poison Emperor, Tang Suman?" Chief Joe and head butler Bakeshin gasped in shock upon realizing who he was. "A long time ago, I saw your face from a distance," Suk Eldo added. The crowd erupted in hushed panic as the news spread. No one expected a figure of his stature to attend a minor local tournament. In the Central Plains, only 4 individuals held the title of Emperor. the Sword Emperor of the Wudong sect, the Fist Emperor of Shaolin, the Whip Emperor of the former Martial Heaven, the Poison Emperor, Tang Suman. Having one of the absolute strongest martial artists in the Central Plains at a local youth tournament guaranteed things would go off the rails. The arrogant man from the Bake clan broke into a cold sweat. That old man is the Poison Emperor. Why is he here? Oh no, I was so disrespectful to him earlier. Mujin stared at Tang Suman, racking his brain. Suman, where have I heard that name? Ah, right. That brat during the war 10 years ago against the Orthodox sects. Back then, 4 of the 5 great clans, excluding the Namgung clan, refused to join the war against the divine demon, claiming they lacked a compelling reason. In reality, their clan heads and main forces had been brutally defeated by Mujin himself. One of the young brats on that battlefield was Tang Suman of the Tang clan, the very man who grew up to become today's Poison Emperor. Memories, Sukeldo offered. We will escort you to the VIP section. Right this way, sir. But Tang Suman declined. No need. I'm far more interested in sitting here. Sukeldo looked confused. What do you mean, sir? He then turned to Mujin. Young master of the Yoma clan, you are here as well. Forgive me for not recognizing you earlier. Shall we move your seats as well? Mujin scoffed. My face isn't a billboard. Of course you wouldn't recognize me. I'll stay right here, don't worry about it. By the way, when does the tournament start? It's getting hot out here. Let's get this show on the road. Tang Suman observed Mujin closely, thinking to himself, the more I look at him, the more he resembles him, a reliable friend and an entertaining rival who snapped me out of my despair. The Flame Emperor, Jote. Young man, you truly resemble him. As the atmosphere heated up, Sukeldo asked Mujin, Please wait a moment, Master Mujin. By the way, will you be participating as well? Participating in what? Mujin asked. The Orthodox Murim tournament held every 5 years. If you participate, before he could finish, Mujin cut him off. I'm not interested right now. I see. What a pity, Sukeldo replied. The arrogant man from the Bake clan rushed over to offer his formal apologies to the Poison Emperor. If my previous behavior caused you any discomfort, I sincerely apologize. I failed to recognize your greatness. Tang Suman took a sip of his drink, clearly annoyed by the interruption. It's far too noisy here. When are the matches starting? His daughter quickly intervened. Thank you for acknowledging the Poison Emperor. However, my father prefers quiet. Please return to your positions. The men bowed nervously. Understood, my lady. We will commence the matches immediately. The announcer stepped forward to explain the rules to the audience. Before we begin, here are the regulations. Only non-lethal wooden weapons, such as wooden swords or spears, are permitted. Fatal strikes meant as attempted murder are strictly prohibited. If an official throws a blue pouch into the arena, the match is temporarily suspended. If a red pouch is thrown, the match is terminated immediately. Now, let the Little Dragon Ascension tournament begin. Bake Seiyan of the Bake clan versus Suyin of the Yoma clan, please step into the arena. Suyin, who was still wolfing down food, wiped her mouth. Mujin told her, Consider this a chance to showcase your training. Let's see how much you've grown. She nodded confidently. Her opponent, a short young man named Bake Seiyan, entered the ring thinking, so that's the kid from the Yoma clan. Unlucky for her to face me in the first round. I'll start by breaking her arm. Suyin taunted him openly. I'm going to wrap this up quickly, so I can go back to eating meat. You're going to be my first stepping stone for my ascension. Bake Seiyan flared up. How dare a brat like you talk down to me? Shut up already, Suyin snapped. How long are you going to keep blabbering? You asked for it. This won't end with just a broken arm, he barked. At the stands, Mujin leaned toward Chief Joe and whispered, Are we always at odds with those guys? Chief Joe explained. It wasn't an issue while the Flame Emperor was alive. But after the former clan head held the succession event, several followers defected to the Bake clan, including head butler Jang. As our clan declined, they grew increasingly hostile toward us, leveraging their numbers and deep-seated animosity. Mujin thought, traitorous scoundrels. The match commenced. Baek Saeyeon lunged at Suyin, slashing wildly with his wooden sword. Suyin dodged effortlessly, counterattacking with a swift, powerful kick. Caught off guard, Saeyeon stumbled, only for Suyin to leap into the air and land a brutal kick straight to his head, knocking him to the ground. Furious, Saeyeon wiped his bloody nose and yelled, "How dare you?" Suyin smirked. "Look at you, bleeding already." Tang Sumin was impressed. "She relies heavily on kicking techniques," he noted to Mujin. "Did you teach her that?" "I didn't have the chance to teach her personally," Mujin replied. "Chief Zhou trained her. She's a natural genius for her age. Her dynamic vision and athletic ability are top tier. But her opponent has a wooden sword. Let's see how she handles an armed opponent." Baek Saeyeon charged again, screaming, "I'll finish you." He unleashed a flurry of sword strikes, but Suyin glided past every single attack with incredible agility. Tang Sumin's daughter marveled. What exceptional footwork. She's dodging every single blow. Eventually, Saeyeon pressed her back toward the edge of the arena ring. Out of bounds meant immediate defeat. Head butler Baek Shin gasped, "She's cornered." Chief Zhou yelled, "Get out of there, young lady." Baek Saeyeon's father cheered from the stands. "Now's your chance. Do not show mercy." Baek Saeyeon swung with full power, but Suyin gracefully leaped over him, landing right behind him. The crowd gasped in awe at her fluid motion. "First you slip around like an eel. Now you fly like a squirrel." Saeyeon yelled in frustration. Suyin chuckled. "You fell for my bait. With your back to the edge, you're the one cornered now." She dropped into a heavy stance, her expression turning terrifyingly cold. "Try blocking this with that slow wooden sword of yours." She unleashed a relentless barrage of strikes, battering him completely. Baek Saeyeon couldn't even raise his weapon to defend himself. The Yeonhwa clan leaders cheered, while Saeyeon's father watched in utter disbelief as his son was beaten black and blue. Desperate, Saeyeon struggled back to his feet. Suyin coldly remarked, "I told you that you'd lose," before landing a brutal kick straight to his stomach. The impact shattered his wooden sword and sent him flying to the edge of the arena. Panicked, his father yelled at the referee to throw the blue pouch. The referee tossed the pouch onto the mat to suspend the match. Suyin paused, staring at the pouch. The beaten boy spat, "Too bad you broke my sword. This isn't over. Just wait. I'll bring our clan's warriors to destroy your pathetic clan." Suyin let out a dry laugh. "Your mouth is always running. Your sword broke in a fair duel. And now you tell me to stop? Do you really think you have the authority to call the shots? I have no intention of stopping." "What?" the boy squeaked. "The blue pouch was thrown. The match is suspended. What does that have to do with me? Bring your warriors later if you want. But right now, you're just a sack of meat waiting for a beating." Suyin leaped into the air and delivered a crushing kick straight to his head, knocking him completely unconscious. Mujin grinned broadly from the stands. "Now that's how you do it." Saeyeon's father stormed over to the referee, yelling, "The blue pouch was thrown. Why didn't you stop her?" Left with no choice, the referee disqualified Suyin. While the clan leaders sighed, Mujin burst out laughing, openly praising his sister's spirit. Suyin stuck her tongue out at the furious father-son duo before casually walking back to the dining table. Chief Zhou scolded her gently. "Young lady, when the blue pouch is thrown, you're supposed to stop." "I know," Suyin grinned, grabbing a piece of meat. "But beating up that annoying brat was way more fun than winning." "Ha! My little sister is amazing." Mujin roared with laughter, completely unbothered by the disqualification. He even started doing a little victory dance. Tang Sumin chuckled at Mujin's antics, while Chief Zhou desperately tried to calm Mujin down. Ignoring them, Mujin raised his glass to the Poison Emperor. "Let's drink. Drink as much as you want today." Tang Sumin readily joined in, and the two began drinking heartily together. "Still," Tang Sumin noted, "if you used your clan's secret techniques, you would have won effortlessly." "Why hold back?" Suyin replied. "Why waste our secret techniques on a brat like him? As you saw, I beat him easily without them. If I used them carelessly, they might figure out a countermeasure." Tang Suman laughed loudly. You're absolutely right. Smart and adorable. He called for more wine, while Suyin snatched food off Dujin's plate. As their drinking session grew rowdier, all eyes in the arena shifted away from the matches and onto Mujin and the Poison Emperor clinking glasses. Suk Eldo, the tournament host, grew increasingly irritated. Clearing his throat, the referee announced, "Next match, Young Master Dujin of the Yoma clan versus Suk Chuyong of the Suk clan. Contestants, please step into the arena." Dujin bowed to Mujin. "Brother Mujin, I'm heading out. Go show them what you've got." Dujin, Mujin encouraged. Tang Suman looked intrigued upon noticing Dujin carrying a sword. The Yoma clan usually prefers unarmed combat over swordsmanship. What's this about? Both contestants drew their wooden swords. Suk Eldo thought, Chuyong, the winner of this tournament will be you. Show them the strength of the Suk clan and catch the Poison Emperor's eye. The signal was given, and both rushed forward. But before anyone could react, Dujin executed a swift, high-level sword technique. In a flash, Suk Chuyong was struck down, left sprawling on the ground with a massive welt on his head, completely unable to continue. The arena fell dead silent. Suk Eldo's jaw dropped. What was that? The Yoma clan leaders and Suyin cheered wildly. Chief Zhou shed a tear. Even if I die today, I'll have no regrets. Tang Suman's eyes widened in genuine astonishment. Such incredibly refined swordsmanship. To think the Yoma clan possessed a technique like that. Mujin chimed in. The swordsmanship Dujin just demonstrated isn't just efficient. It contains the core principles of an advanced martial art. The surrounding crowd gasped. An advanced martial art? Mujin pulled out a manual and held it up for everyone to see. It is called the Mind-Suffering Sword Art. A powerful, visible surge of martial energy radiated from the manual. Mujin announced at the top of his lungs. Anyone who wishes to learn this technique, join the Yoma clan. As you just saw from Dujin's match, mastering even half of this technique yields immense growth. The audience went wild. Spectators and independent martial artists immediately surged forward, eager to sign up. For membership inquiries, please line up in front of our chief right here. Form a single line. Mujin shouted. Tang Suman burst into uncontrolled laughter at the sheer audacity of Mujin recruiting sect members in the middle of an official tournament. He truly lives up to his reputation as a madman. Meanwhile, Suk Eldo trembled with rage. How dare this arrogant fool pull a stunt like this here? If the Poison Emperor weren't sitting right next to him, I'd have him thrown out this instant. The arrogant man from the Bei clan slid up behind Suk Eldo and whispered, Are you really going to let that clan do whatever they want? The Poison Emperor is watching. What can I do? Suk Eldo hissed back. Even so, we can't let all our hard work go to waste and hand the spotlight to them, the man plotted. I have a scheme. Let's manipulate the bracket and pit Suk Oso against him. That's our best move. Historically, as the Yoma clan's influence over Seokang gradually faded, the Suk and Bei clans planned to fill the power vacuum. Through the Little Dragon tournament, they routinely rigged the brackets to ensure their own disciples won, subsequently sending them to the Orthodox Murim tournament to boost their own prestige and monopoly over the region. The referee announced, Next, the final match for the top 32, Banawal, young master of the Hafm sect, versus Suk Oso of the Dinsong sect. The winner of this match will face Dujin next. Chief Zhou's eyes widened in concern. Wait, why is he here? Mujin asked. Why? Is he strong? Chief Zhou replied anxiously. He was the champion of the previous Little Dragon tournament. I thought he joined the Dinsong sect to train. Saoso was seen immediately intimidating his opponent. His opponent was deeply startled and shocked. Why are you here? This tournament only allows participants who are 14 years old or younger. Sukioso answered, Yes, I know. I am 14 years old as well. His opponent did not believe him and assumed he was lying, believing he was already 15 years old. However, Sukioso said, Are you done whining? He then immediately struck his opponent, defeating him in an instant and leaving Dojin stunned. Declared the winner on the spot, he said, You bark too much like a dog. My birthday hasn't passed yet. Chief Ju looked furious. How could they resort to such tricks? I will demand an explanation. But Mujin told him to just drop it, as he was the best opponent they could hope for. Dojin seemed lost in thought, appearing completely fearless. The host of the venue then announced, "Next, we will proceed with the match. Please pay close attention. This is the main highlight of this tournament. Dujin, the young master of the Yomyo clan, against a strong championship candidate, Seo Kyoso, the young master of the Diensong sect. Please step into the arena," the Magic Emperor said. "So the finals are right before our eyes." The arrogant man and his allies showed their faces. They were confident that Sokyoso would definitely win. Meanwhile, Bake Shin and Chief Zhou cheered Dojin on, as did Suyin. Sakyoso said, "You use a nice sword technique. Since your younger sister took second place, she ended up getting eliminated." Dojin replied, "So are you trying to take revenge or something?" He answered, "Revenge, you say? Get real, I wouldn't do something so stupid. I am going to win, so a worm like you won't ever be able to hold a sword again." He immediately used his skill, 12 Radiant Sword Strike, directing it straight at Dojin. He struggled immensely to hold off all those attacks. Sokyoso taunted, "Hey, worm, if all you can do is defend, your bones will be crushed in no time." Their battle was fierce, but Dojin was clearly being pushed back by his assault. The Magic Emperor noted, "So that is the signature fast sword style of the Diensong sect. A troublesome technique to deal with." Mujin watched their match in total silence. The arrogant man looked supremely confident, urging Sokyoso to keep attacking and show them his true power. He continued to batter Dujin, who appeared completely cornered. He could only block every strike without finding an opening to counterattack. When he tried to strike, Dojin immediately dodged the incoming blow and prepared to strike back, but his attempt was instantly broken. Because Seo Kyoso was already waiting for Dojin to make that move, he took a hit. Sokyoso then unleashed his ultimate technique once more, the Radiant Sword. Dojin was truly pushed to his absolute limit. He was thrown backward and ultimately crashed to the ground. Sakoso said with smug confidence, "You were a bit faster, but I guess this is as far as you go." But suddenly, a blue pouch was tossed into the arena, signaling a temporary suspension of the match. It turned out that Mujin was the one who threw it, looking genuinely furious. Sokyoso thought it was a completely foolish move. He laughed, turned, and walked away from Dojin, saying, "Well then, see you later." Dojin's hand was seen trembling violently and severely injured. Mujin immediately went over to inspect Dojin's hand. "Here, let me see your hand. That kid was blatantly targeting the participants. This is going to hurt, so bear with it for a moment." Everyone was shocked to see Dojin in so much pain, gritting his teeth to endure it all. Mujin said, "I have set your bones, but with your hand in this condition, holding a sword will be difficult. What do you plan to do?" Dujin begged to have the wooden sword tied to his hand. Mujin understood and immediately bound the sword to his hand. He showed no fear, stepping forward once more to face Sokyoso. The Magic Emperor praised his impressive resolve for someone so young. Mujin replied that he was no ordinary child from a martial clan. At least, this was what he was supposed to do. Sakyoso said, "I see you in a new light now. I thought you'd be a crybaby whining to quit, but you actually managed to come back. And now that you're back, you'll have to suffer the consequences, just like what happened to your brother when he was young." Dujin was infuriated upon hearing those words. "What did you just say?" Sokyoso immediately leaped into the air to strike Dujin, boasting, "A new pair of crippled brothers will soon be added to Shang." Seo Kyoso was completely confident that he could easily overpower Dojin. However, Dujin stood his ground, ready to face every incoming attack with unwavering confidence. He remembered his brother's words. "Do you want to win?" He had answered, "I must win. I must take first place and restore our clan's reputation." Mujin had replied, "Don't worry about that, kid. Your big brother will make our clan the greatest clan in this city. Once again, all you need to do right now is focus on the match. I will tell you the most foolproof way to win." Returning to the present moment, he recalled Mujin's advice. When Sokioso attacks with his sword technique, look for the opening that appears right in the center. When that happens, do not hesitate. He immediately charged forward to meet Zokioso's strike, thrusting his wooden sword straight into Sayoso's abdomen, completely catching him off guard with his movement. It hit him squarely in the chest, pushing him backward with full force. Everyone was stunned to witness the counterstrike. Mujin was delighted that Dojin pulled it off. Sokioso was blown back and tumbled to the ground. The leaders cheered in excitement. Great job, Dojin. Suyin was equally thrilled that her brother managed to strike back. However, Soyoso was still able to stand back up. He looked utterly enraged, snarling, "You damn little worm. How dare you point your sword at my body? I'll finish you off." Dojin thought to himself, "Was my attack too weak?" Sokioso shouted, "You're not leaving here alive." But suddenly, a red pouch hit him right in the face. He barked, "Who dares throw this in my face?" It was Mujin. "I did, you little brat. You insolent brat. And great job, Dojin. Now that you've worked hard, let's just go home." The host asked, "Are you taking your leave now?" He replied, "I've already gained what I came for. There's no need to push this any further. This isn't the kind of grand martial tournament worthy of risking my brother's future just to win. Let me head home, everyone." And they understood. "Hurry back and get treatment right away, Master Dojin." He was still in pain from his wrist. The Poison Emperor asked, "Are you leaving already? Since our meeting might be fate, how about having a drink at your place?" His granddaughter chimed in, "Grandfather, are you really going to that man's house?" Mujin welcomed him to drop by if he wished, and everyone watched as the Poison Emperor took his leave as well. Sakyoso said in frustration, "This fight isn't fun anymore." They were thoroughly annoyed by Mujin's behavior. Then the scene shifted. Several people were seen walking toward a certain location, and local residents recognized them as members of the social sect. One of them, named Hong Yohan of the social sect, said, "Today will be the day I break that hidden dragon's neck. Looks like he's looking for Mujin, guys." The blindfolded man named Dead Black Crow said, "I'm entrusting this to you. He's a dangerous man who must be eliminated." Johann replied, "There's nothing to worry about. We even have our brother from the Crimson Sword sect with us. No one in this place can stop us, right?" The man from the Crimson Sword sect, named Jo Song, replied, "Of course, you're stating the obvious. Once the Crimson Sword sect steps in, your worries fade away." They all burst into loud laughter. A moment later, they arrived at their destination. Johann said, "What kind of place is this? It looks like it's going to rot and collapse any second." He immediately kicked the front gate open, adding, "I'll handle the demolition for you." Inside, Mansuk was completely startled by the attack on his place. He demanded, "What do you think you're doing? Why are you destroying someone else's front gate?" Johann answered, "I'm sorry. The gate was so rotten I thought it belonged to no one. But still, for a lowly servant like you to dare raise your voice at me." Mansuk was utterly shocked by his words. Meanwhile, Mujin's subordinates were shown having just finished eating, looking completely stuffed. They were joking around on their way back to their headquarters. However, when they arrived at the front gate, they were stunned. "Why is the gate destroyed like this? I knew this would happen one day since the gate was already rotten." But before he could finish his sentence, he was horrified to see Mansuk being abused by several men. Mansuk cried, "What took you guys so long?" Johann scoffed, "This is what happens when you employ back-alley trash like him as a servant. If the master is insolent, the subordinates are even worse." Song added, "I heard they're working together with Green Forest." "Looks like that's true." Johann replied, "Judging by their appearance, it certainly seems so." One of Mujin's subordinates asked Mansuk, "What are they doing? They don't look like they're bowing." Johann arrogantly laughed out loud. "Bowing, you say? Now that I look closer, they didn't hire warriors. They hired clowns. You're all fools." One of Mujin's men grew furious and shouted, "Those questions can be asked later. What are you doing right now? Draw your weapons." Black Crow thought to himself, "Come to think of it, I feel like I've seen you somewhere before." However, the four of them immediately launched an attack on all of them. Mujin's subordinates were completely enraged, and set on wiping out the enemies before them. Then Mujin's group arrived on the scene, completely shocked and wondering what on earth had happened. They saw the enemies already defeated by Mujin's men. A bald man said, "You're here, young master. I only stepped out for a brief moment to eat, and while I was gone, these guys beat up Mansuk and caused a scene, so I gave them a little massage." Mansuk came running over to Mujin in tears, terrified from being intimidated by those men. Mujin asked, "So who are these people anyway?" Mujin looked closely at one of them and recognized him. "That's Black Crow. I spared your life before and told you to bring money, but in the end, you called your sword-wielding friends and decided to cause trouble instead." He was utterly terrified and immediately bowed down before Mujin, pleading, "Please forgive me. I am truly sorry." Mujin ordered his men to wake those people up. Mujin then interrogated them. "Did you come here to get revenge for that half-blind fool?" Soga replied, "I am the one-step assassin of the Crimson Sword sect. My name is Song." Mujin remarked, "Oh, so you have a title? You must have money then." The Poison Emperor asked, "The Crimson Sword sect, you say? Do you mean you are part of the 4 constitutions of the Heavenly Marshal?" When Sogang turned his gaze toward the Poison Emperor, he was deeply shocked. He realized that it was indeed the Poison Emperor. The Poison Emperor looked furious and said, "The Crimson Sword sect set foot on Sichuan soil and is to attack an Orthodox clan? Can this be considered a declaration of war?" He unleashed a horrifying aura. They were completely terrified by the sight of it, as the aura was overwhelmingly intimidating. Even the bystanders around them felt it, a chilling, murderous intent that caused the ground to tremble. Song thought to himself, "Why is that old man here? What is he doing in this clan? He is one of the strongest martial artists in the world today, the Poison Emperor himself. I must not offend him under any circumstances. If I do, our sect will be wiped out without a trace left." He was completely paralyzed with fear and immediately apologized, bowing repeatedly and slamming his head against the ground to confess his wrongdoings. "Please forgive us, Poison Emperor." His 2 companions were equally shocked, seemingly just realizing that he was the Poison Emperor. The Poison Emperor said, "So you really want to test my martial prowess and the Tang clan's strength? Fine. I will use your bones as a snack after drinking. I will skin your family alive before I go to sleep." Song kept pleading, "This is a misunderstanding, Poison Emperor. That's not what we meant." Suddenly, Mujin stomped his foot. The Poison Emperor's granddaughter was stunned, thinking, "How is that possible? Did he just crush my grandfather's typhoon-like murderous intent?" Mujin said, "Calm down, there are children here. People might think you own this house." Mujin also radiated a chilling, terrifying murderous intent. The Poison Emperor immediately laughed it off and apologized to Mujin. "Forgive me. Intimidating those fools was so much fun that I got carried away." Mujin instructed Chief Zhou to take Mansuk and the children to the medical room. He immediately led them all away, though Suyin looked annoyed because she actually wanted to watch the spectacle, thinking it was very exciting. Once they had all left, Mujin said, "So you're the ones who beat up another family's servant, and you even destroyed that precious front gate of mine. Do you have any idea about this gate?" Mujin directly plunged a sharp piece of wood into the man's shoulder. He shrieked in agony. Mujin said, "This gate was made from a 100-year-old oak tree that stood tall even after being struck by lightning, blessed with the energy of a great worshipper, and filled with the spirit of my grandfather. That's not something you can find just anywhere." Song kept begging Mujin to stop pressing the wooden stake, crying, "The one who kicked the front gate wasn't me." Mujin replied, "Oh really? Even so, you stood by and let it happen, so you're no different from the culprit. Pay a compensation of 10 million. He answered, "What kind of extortion is this, and what do you mean compensation?" Mujin's subordinates watched in silence, thinking, "That guy dares to talk back to the young master? He's definitely going to regret it." Mujin chuckled softly, "You're really making me do this." He pressed down and pulled out the piece of wood, causing Sogang excruciating pain. He finally yielded, and Mujin pulled it out completely. "You should have said so from the beginning." He turned to one of the men and said, "So you were the one who did it." The man panicked instantly, trembling. I'm sorry. I have committed a sin worthy of death. Mujin immediately answered. In that case, you pay 20 million. The man agreed on the spot. Then Black Crow begged relentlessly, weeping, I'm sorry, young master. This won't happen again. However, Mujin was thoroughly enraged. He severed his neck with a piece of wood, instantly decapitating him. His companions were horrified. Mujin declared, there are no second chances. This man's property belongs to me now. Destroy everything and bring it to me. Both of them nodded in compliance. You have until tomorrow, so get lost. They were terrified and scrambled to leave the premises. The Poison Emperor's granddaughter stood frozen, shocked by Mujin's cruelty. A few days passed, and the clan residence was completely transformed. The old front gate with peeling paint was replaced with a thick, well-oiled, authentic oak gate. The walls, roof, and even the cracked stone floors were renewed with fresh materials. And that was not all. The line to recruit martial artists and test the clan's warriors never stopped, as receiving an allowance while learning advanced martial arts was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So it was natural for Mujin to feel uncomfortable about something. The Poison Emperor and his granddaughter were sitting there drinking tea. The Poison Emperor remarked, the aroma of the tea today feels exceptionally rich. He thought to himself, but why? His granddaughter answered, it happens that there are plenty of high-quality tea leaves in this clan residence. Thus, the Poison Emperor visited the place every single day. Suddenly, Mujin walked up and said, aren't you coming over way too often? The Poison Emperor replied, ah, there you are. Come join us for some tea. It tastes exquisite. Mujin muttered under his breath, you have your own bitter tea at your clan, so why do you keep visiting here? The Poison Emperor answered, why be so stingy over a simple cup of tea? Mujin felt slightly annoyed. What did you say? I'm stingy. The Poison Emperor seemed to be merely joking, but it irritated Mujin nonetheless. Then, at Mujin's residence, the Poison Emperor remarked, this place looks truly amazing. The renovation was done on a massive scale. A place where people live should be filled with this kind of vitality. Just look at them dedicating their best efforts to their work. The taste of the food has improved, and even the tea has become more expensive. It makes me forget my age. I'll be troubling you for a while. He then asked Mujin, moving internal skill, is that the energy you circulate? Mujin answered, correct. The Poison Emperor said, allow me a small pleasure. Mujin wondered what he was talking about, but suddenly the Poison Emperor launched an attack at Mujin using his weapon. Mujin immediately parried the strike and wondered what on earth was happening. The weapon almost grazed his eye, but he dodged all the incoming attacks effortlessly. The Poison Emperor's granddaughter was startled by his actions. He continued to attack Mujin relentlessly, leaving Baek Shin shocked as well. Why are those two fighting? What is wrong with the two of them? The Poison Emperor appeared dead serious with his strikes, suddenly unleashing his technique, the Poison Cloud Force, releasing a thick haze of poisonous smoke. Mujin also unleashed his own techniques, the Neen Swirl form and Sky Cleaving form. The attacks completely dispersed the entire poison cloud. Everyone was stunned to see the entire poison haze vanish. Mujin was amazed. What kind of power does this old man have? This isn't just poison mist. The Poison Emperor said, just as I suspected, solitary Neen sword. Mujin looked startled upon hearing those words. Do you recognize this sword technique? He answered, I only saw it once, and I have never forgotten it. Forgive me, for I had to be certain which sword art you were using. Let us sit down again. Mujin thought, unbelievable. What a strange old man. The Poison Emperor said, it seems I truly am old. My back aches. Pour me some tea. My throat is dry. One lives long enough to witness miracles. To think I would see that swordplay again in this lifetime. What kind of fate is this? How does the eldest son of the Yam clan know that sword technique? Mujin answered, I apologize, but I am the one who should be asking first, old man. How do you recognize it? He smiled and said, it was a very long time ago. In my childhood, I used to follow my grandfather and brother to go fishing. Back then, My grandfather carried a name earned through immense hardship. Because his poison arts had reached the heavens, Poison Heaven, Poison Emperor, he was considered one of the absolute masters of his era. Even after he retired, he appeared, "Your master," and they stood facing each other, ready to clash. The young Poison Emperor could only watch from a distance as his grandfather prepared to fight. He observed the two of them clashing swords, their powers seemingly equal as they exchanged strike after strike. Yet, both managed to dodge every single attack. Poison Heaven immediately unleashed his Poison Cloud skill, and the sword master countered using the Nin sword, just as Mujin had done. Their attacks collided head-on. It was truly magnificent. I still cannot forget it. If you were to witness such a force of nature with your own eyes, you would be no different from me. Solitary Nin sword. I cheered for my grandfather with all my strength. But that man brought down the person praised as the strongest of his era, Poison Heaven, easily to the point of being absurd. He was defeated using only the Nin sword, and the man left without saying a single word. I was still too young back then. All I could do was watch them fight. After that day, the one phrase etched into my memory was Solitary Nin sword. Is that his name? Mujin replied, No, that is merely the name of his sword art. The Poison Emperor answered, Oh, so that's how it is. So that's why it's called the Nin sword? How fascinating. Then, does that mean you are that master's disciple? Mujin said, We didn't formally bind ourselves as master and disciple, but that is correct. I inherited his martial arts. Just understand that there are things that are difficult to explain. If a legitimate successor appears someday, I will hand this sword technique over to them. The Poison Emperor said, Oh, I see. I understand. I apologize once again for attacking you so suddenly. Old Man Poison added, By any chance, do you know about the swordless stretch? The Poison Emperor's granddaughter looked surprised. The Poison Emperor asked, What do you mean, a sword technique without a sword? I've never heard of it. Mujin said, All right, I have business to attend to. I'll take my leave. Get some rest before you go. However, Poison said, Wait a moment. I have one more question. Truth be told, this is the main reason I've been visiting your residence so often. What do you think of our Freya? Mujin was confused. What do you mean? Poison said, Stop pretending you don't understand. Of course, Freya as a bride. So his granddaughter's name is Freya. The Poison Emperor's granddaughter looked deeply embarrassed, and Mujin was equally stunned. Mujin was caught completely off guard by the Poison Emperor's offer for him to be his granddaughter's suitor. The Poison Emperor merely smiled as he looked at Mujin. The elders looked delighted upon hearing this. Not only that, but his subordinates were also completely shocked. Is the young master getting married soon? I'm so envious of him. The Poison Emperor asked, Come on, just tell me. I'll say it once more. She will be your bride. The Poison Emperor's granddaughter blushed beet red with shyness. She seemed perfectly willing to be arranged with Mujin. But Mujin suddenly remembered his past with his former lover. He answered, I have no intention of getting married, at least not in this lifetime. The Poison Emperor's granddaughter looked shocked that Mujin mentioned this lifetime, and she became visibly angry and annoyed. Because Mujin added honestly, She's also not really my type. She was thoroughly flustered and snapped back. I'm not interested in a man like you either. It was obvious she was utterly embarrassed from feeling rejected by Mujin. The Poison Emperor asked, Could it be that you're gay? Mujin was deeply irritated upon hearing that. What did you just say? No. Who said that? The Poison Emperor said. How could you reject her? She is a woman desired by many men. I'm asking because I genuinely don't understand. Mujin replied, Everyone has their own type. I hope you respect my decision. With that, I'm leaving. I have a lot of work to do. Poison remarked. How strange. Was he not captivated by her at all? That's impossible. But his granddaughter said, Stop it, grandfather. You're making me feel so embarrassed. You didn't seem to mind earlier, so I said it to him. His granddaughter retorted, I didn't mind, you say? Since when did I ever say that? I don't want to deal with someone so arrogant who dances obscene dances like him. Poison replied, Oh, is that so? Well, it can't be helped. Next time, I'll try bringing your younger sister instead then. Jenga is gentler than you and has a better personality. Finding a man like that isn't easy. Heh, I won't let him slip away. Freya answered. Then why don't you just stay here with Mujin, grandfather? I'm leaving first. He called out. Wait, let's go together. I'm done drinking anyway. Freya glared sharply at him. Then Chief Joe asked Mujin a question, but Mujin simply stared in the direction of the Poison Emperor's granddaughter, who was still glaring crossly at him. Mujin asked, Has everyone been assembled? Chief Joe answered, Yes. As of today's recruitment deadline, we have a total of 230 people. A vast crowd of applicants could be seen gathered there. Mujin introduced himself to all of them. I am Mujin. I will keep this brief. Whatever reason brought you to join our clan, I do not care. What I want is for you to become strong and carry out the tasks assigned to you. Starting today, we will begin the warrior clan selection test. For some of you, this will be the hardest test you have ever faced. Anyone who wishes to quit halfway through is free to do so at any time. But if you choose to endure, you will be rewarded. Instructors, step forward. For martial arts instructors stepped up, assigned to take charge of the training. From this moment on, you will follow the orders given by them. With that said, I wish you luck. Let us meet again alive. The lead instructor said, I am the senior instructor, Chelmuk. From now on, we will conduct the warrior selection test. All of you must carry those rice sacks on your backs. Everyone was utterly shocked upon hearing that. What did he say? All these rice sacks have to be carried? How can we possibly lift all of that? The instructor continued, Can't lift them? Then there is another way. Simply defeat the 4 instructors in a duel. Whoever wins will not only pass the test, but will also immediately be granted the position of instructor. The participants were stunned, and some began contemplating leaving because they didn't want to die young. Several people started heading for the exit. However, an instructor barked, You want to leave? Who said you could leave? A participant answered, Young Master Mujin said so earlier. He said anyone who wants to quit is free to go. The instructor replied, But he didn't say you could leave in one piece. Make your choice. Are you willing to take the test, or do you choose to leave after I beat you half to death? They looked terrified at the instructor. In truth, they had no choice from the very beginning, and one by one, they reluctantly began heaving the rice sacks onto their backs with great effort. If any one of you drops your sack, I will stuff every single grain of rice from a full sack straight into your mouth. And if any of you protest, I will split you in 2. Do you all understand? Push properly, you weaklings. Mujin, watching from above, smiled in satisfaction. Not bad. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of town, near the Yomo residence, someone appeared to be severely injured. He panted, Hurry, report this to the Yomo clan. He pleaded to the person in front of him. Tell Master Mujin, and finally collapsed unconscious. The person in front of him turned out to be Mansuk. He wondered, What's wrong with this guy? What is he saying? He tried to wake the man up, but Mansuk soon realized that the man was one of their members. Later that night, Mujin asked, Has his condition improved? Baek-shin answered, The physician says his condition is not critical. That Chonghua merchant group finally did it. I heard they have stationed warriors along the trade routes and committed all sorts of atrocities. Several merchants who resisted were beaten to death. Tell Mansuk to make preparations quickly. Baek-shin asked, Does it have to be right now? Mujin answered, I already told you that debts and revenge must be paid. We are just moving a bit early. Leave Dong Jok to handle the warrior test and tell Chelmuk, No Sak, and Jang Tai to get ready. Baek-shin understood and immediately went out to report. However, Mujin's 2 younger siblings overheard the conversation. Suyin said, You heard that, right? So we're going to handle those people. Dujin answered, But do we really need to see people die? Suyin snapped, Don't talk nonsense. Last time you covered my eyes, so I couldn't see anything. Besides, if you don't get it, I'll go by myself. Dujin conceded, All right then. Mujin was seen getting ready, asking his subordinates, Is everyone ready? They were fully prepared to exact their revenge, and they all set out together. However, Mujin's two siblings were secretly tailing them. Suyin said, "This is the start of an adventure." Suyin looked completely fearless. The group sprinted rapidly through the surrounding forests toward their destination. Mujin's siblings were falling behind. Because the group's speed was so high, the two kids couldn't keep up. Suddenly, Mujin signaled for everyone to halt. Hidden behind the trees, a massive group was lying in wait. They were completely surrounded by enemies. Mujin's siblings watched from a distance, wondering what was happening. The bald man remarked, "Are these guys hiding?" Mujin answered, "So the ones they were targeting were us all along." Mujin's subordinates immediately began beating them down one by one, effortlessly defeating the enemies. Despite their numbers, they were no match for Mujin's group. Mujin leaped into the air and attacked an enemy, slashing through him with ease. Mujin looked thoroughly excited. The enemies attempted to block Mujin's movements, as Mujin alone appeared truly terrifying. Mujin's siblings watched in utter shock, remarking, "So this is a real battle? The smell of blood is strong even from over here." They were trembling. One by one, the enemies collapsed, easily defeated by Mujin's men. The cleanup is complete. Mujin instructed the bald man to pry open the mouth of one of the survivors. Mujin asked, "Who sent you? Tell me right now, and I will spare your life." The bald man glared menacingly at the prisoner, intimidating him. "The young master is asking you. Answer quickly." The man broke down. "We are from the Dead Forest faction. We were sent by the Chonghua merchant group," Mujin remarked. "Oh, so you're from the Dead Forest faction? So you were the ones who attacked the children earlier. I still remember. I'm going to finish you all off." The man was terrified upon looking at Mujin. "I didn't know about that. Please have mercy on me." Mujin ordered his men to release him. His subordinate asked, "Are you really going to spare him?" The man thought to himself, "Who would have thought this monster slaughtered all of us single-handedly?" Mujin said, "Go and deliver this message to your comrades. I will eliminate every single one of you that I see. So I dare you to keep at it." The man scrambled away in sheer terror, rushing past Mujin's siblings without even noticing the two kids due to his panic. Suyin said, "It's late. Should we head back now? The atmosphere is so cold too." Suddenly, one of Mujin's subordinates noticed someone over there and approached the two kids. Ultimately, both of them got smacked on the head by their older brother. Suyin whimpered, "I'm sorry, brother. I just wanted to see a real fight," Dojin added, apologizing to his older brother. Mujin replied, "I understand how you feel. But if the enemy had noticed your presence first, you would have been finished. Look over there. Could they have guessed that they would die today? No one can choose when they die. There are no guarantees. You are not immune to the same fate as them. In a split second, the choice is between life and death. This is how this place operates. The Murim world. Death will always be lurking around you. Never act recklessly again. Do you understand?" Both of them looked terrified and ultimately obeyed their brother's words. "Good. It would be dangerous for you to head back now. Tonight, we will camp here. We will return to the clan when the sun rises." They were then seen burning the dead bodies. There were a vast number of them. The sound of burning flesh felt strangely familiar yet foreign. At the same time, Mujin's two siblings were utterly terrified as they watched. The stench wafted through the dark forest toward the two children, leaving a memory they would never be able to forget. The scene then shifted to the following day. Mujin told them to leave now. "The clan is probably in an uproar right now." His subordinate answered, "Yes, then we should get moving. Let's go this way." "You little rascals." The two of them began their journey home, escorted by one of Mujin's subordinates. Mujin said, "We've already been delayed, so let's pick up the pace." Meanwhile, back at the Yomwa clan residence, the elders were still in a panic, ordering everyone to search for the two children. "Tell the servants and warriors to search every corner." Mansuk said, "We made sure they were asleep last night. Where on earth did they go? And what are they doing?" The three of them were shown heading back. Zhang Tai remarked, "Lady Suyin invited you to go with her, didn't she?" Young Master Dojin agreed and followed her. Suyin answered, "That's right. You're quite observant." He replied, "It's obvious. You are the clan's leader. Dujin said, "Don't get me started. When I said I didn't want to go, she threatened me." Suddenly, a cry for help echoed through the air. Someone over there was being attacked. She struggled frantically to get free. The attacker sneered, "Keep struggling. The others couldn't even hold out before, but you're doing a bit better than them." The victim kept begging Jiang Tai for help, while Jiang Tai wondered what they were doing in broad daylight. Jiang Tai told the two siblings to stay put right here. He was taken aback by how horrifying the man looked. He immediately told Mujin's siblings to head home right now, as he prepared to settle the matter himself. "Everyone must be worried about you, so you two head back first." He thought to himself, "If I fight here, we will surely die." He seemed ready to leave the spot, but the man noticed Jiang Tai's presence. "Get lost, you pests." Suddenly, Dojin approached him, and the man asked, "What is it, kid? Why are you here? Is there something you want to say? Do you want a piece of her too?" Dojin looked furious, laying a hand on a nun in broad daylight. "Take your hands off her right now, you pervert." Jiang Tai was completely shocked. What on earth is he doing? Suyin, however, looked delighted that her brother was showing courage. Jiang Tai panicked, fearing something might happen to Mujin's siblings. The man then released his grip on the nun. He sneered, "What a brave kid. Do you think I won't finish you off just because you're a brat? I'll sever all 4 of your limbs. Then enjoy your screams as entertainment along with this nun's shrieks." Suddenly, Jiang Tai stepped in to save him, launching an attack at the man. But the man dodged with ease, countering and kicking Jiang Tai backward. Jiang Tai was stunned. What kind of movement was that? This guy is incredibly strong. Dojin worriedly asked, "Are you all right?" The man remarked, "Turns out you're a martial artist too. You're not bad." Jiang Tai whispered to Dojin, "He is a true martial master, extremely powerful. Young master, when I give the signal, do not look back. Run toward the village with the young lady. Don't stop, even for a moment. You've practiced movement arts, so you can do it, right? Now run with the young lady." He immediately turned to face the man, launching an attack, but it was easily parried by the man's sword. "I didn't expect to get a chance to stretch my limbs like this." "Good, very good. This is nice." Jiang Tai struggled immensely against him. Because the man's skills were far superior, Jiang Tai was battered to the point where he couldn't attack at all, ultimately forced to retreat. The man relentlessly pressed forward, leaving Jiang Tai barely able to parry the strikes. The man sneered, "Watching you struggle and fight back is quite a sight. Show me some more." He kept unleashing continuous strikes at Jiang Tai, who thought, his sword is fast yet consistent. His skill might be above young Master Mujin's. Fortunately, he managed to dodge the lethal blows. The man taunted, "Aren't you going to show me everything you've got?" Dojin watched, still deeply worried for Jiang Tai, who was heavily cornered. The man declared, "If you don't unleash everything, then you will surely die." He thrust his sword straight at Jiang Tai's chest. Jiang Tai thought, "Am I going to die now? Those two will be in grave danger." Suddenly, Mujin arrived and saved him. The man was deeply startled to see Mujin, who instantly launched a fierce attack. The man was completely caught off guard by Mujin's strike. What on earth is this now? Dojin was overjoyed that his brother had come to their rescue. Mujin looked furious, launching a barrage of attacks, yet the two appeared evenly matched. Jiang Tai watched in silence. "Young Master Mujin, I knew you would come." However, Mujin's sword was pushed back, making him look cornered. He carefully analyzed his opponent's movements. The man said, "At least you seem to know how to handle a sword. You're pretty good." The man then immediately activated his skill, Chain Moon Slash. He attacked Mujin relentlessly with immense power. Mujin could only block the strikes with his sword, visibly struggling and suffering cut wounds across his body from the man's sword techniques. Mujin's subordinates were also present. Seeing their young master under attack, the bald man remarked, "How is he doing that from such a distance? Does he possess some kind of divine weapon or something?" The bald man turned to Nozak. "He really is a formidable martial master. Let's mobilize our internal energy to the maximum." But Jiang Tai warned, "Wait, This is beyond our capabilities. If we intervene, we will only get in his way. Watch closely. Young Master Mujin is dodging every lethal blow while reading the trajectory of his sword strikes. The nun was also watching the battle unfold. The man continued his high-speed assault while Mujin analyzed his every move. The speed of the sword, its path as it flew closer, and the impact force upon collision. Sparks flew in all directions. The man was astonished. How is it possible for him to parry all my attacks? Mujin applied everything to his own sword art, recalling his master's words. The true form of the perilous sword will only be revealed when clashing against a powerful blade. Mujin had asked, "In that case, is it stronger than your demonic spirit art?" His master had snapped back crossly. "You impudent brat! Of course my sword technique is stronger." Returning to the present, Mujin thought, "Just a little more. I have completely understood every one of your sword strikes." The man was shocked to hear that. Mujin launched his counterattack, heavily pressing the man, who mistakenly assumed Mujin was targeting his shoulder. Mujin's movements were blindingly fast. He delivered a final slash, having read every single move of his opponent. The enemy was defeated, looking utterly dumbfounded. He never imagined he could be beaten by Mujin. Everyone watched in utter disbelief as Mujin ultimately triumphed over an opponent who had previously appeared far stronger than him. The man gasped, "To think I was defeated by a brat like you. You've got to be kidding me. What is your name?" Mujin answered, "My name is Mujin." The man said, "Oh, I see. So you are from the Yoma clan?" With those words, he died on the spot. Mujin declared, "May you find no peace even after death, and in your next life, do not fight someone like me, because you will surely lose." The nun's companion arrived at the scene, wondering, "What happened while I was away? Is that Mujin? I've heard that name before. The crazy young master of the Yoma clan. Is he really that strong?" Mujin asked his siblings, "Are either of you injured?" Dojin answered, "No, thanks to Zhang Tai holding him off." Zhang Tai stepped forward and asked, "How did you know we were here?" Mujin replied, "I had an ill premonition earlier, so I came after you." "What actually happened?" Zhang Tai explained, "The man you just defeated was trying to defile a nun. Since your siblings were here, we intended to just pass by, but young Master Dojin shouted at him, which triggered the fight." The nun was being awakened by her companion. Mujin asked Dojin, "Is it true that you did that?" Dojin apologized, explaining that he couldn't stand by and watch a woman be treated that way. Mujin remarked, "Little brother, so you have a sense of justice in you?" Dojin looked surprised. The nun's companion introduced herself as a first-generation disciple of the Amei sect. "Thank you. Thanks to you, I managed to survive." Mujin replied, "Save the introductions for later. I want to ask you something. What was the name of the man who just died? I've never heard of a martial master of that caliber around here." She explained that the man was a peak martial master known as the Crimson Moon Sword, belonging to the Crimson Moon Sword sect, part of the 4 heavenly martial constitutions. He suddenly appeared and started a fight, demanding to know where our junior sister was. I heard he was an extremely vile man, but I never expected him to attack without warning. Mujin remarked, "No wonder. His marksmanship was crude and trashy. Just another wretched heavenly martial constitution bastard." The woman expressed her gratitude once more. "Thanks to your help, you are a great hero. How can I ever repay this debt of gratitude?" Mujin answered, "Thank Zhang Tai and Dojin. I didn't come here to save you in the first place." The woman immediately thanked Dojin. "Thank you, young master." Dojin turned red and stammered, "It's nothing. I didn't do anything. I was just upset by what I saw earlier." Mujin smiled at him, pleased with his younger brother's noble nature. "I'll be taking my leave now, so be careful on your way home." Dojin replied, "Please be careful, brother. Take care of yourselves." And they parted ways at that spot. The nun thought to herself, "Mujin of the Yomwa clan, I thought the rumors were exaggerated, but perhaps a new wind is about to blow through Sichuan. He is truly powerful." Later that evening, Mujin and his subordinates arrived at a certain location, the headquarters of the merchant group that supported Mujin's family. Master Dong welcomed him. Is this a dream or reality? Is that really you? Mujin answered, I have come to fulfill my promise. How have you been, merchant master? They were warmly received. Master Dong ordered his men to welcome Mujin with the utmost respect and prepare a lavish feast immediately. Seated in the dining room, they partook in various meat dishes. Master Dong apologized. I am sorry. Times have been difficult lately, so the food is somewhat limited. However, they seemed delighted with the meal, as it was truly delicious. Mujin remarked, Your face looks exhausted. You must have gone through a difficult time, haven't you? Master Dong replied, Do I really look like that? How embarrassing. Just then, 2 other members arrived, overjoyed to see Mujin. Young Master Mujin, you actually came by yourself? Why did you decide to travel this far alone, without an army of 1,000 or even 10,000 cavalry with you? Mujin asked, How have you all been? The 2 asked, How could you make such a dangerous journey alone? Nothing happened to you, right? Mujin casually replied, On the way here, I faced about 30 assassins and beat up someone called the Crimson Moon Sword. They were utterly stunned. You defeated the Crimson Moon Sword? Is that true? If it's the Crimson Moon Sword, he's from the Heavenly Martial Constitution. Master Dong was equally shocked. You're saying you faced him and defeated him? Mujin replied nonchalantly, Yeah, that's right. Is there something wrong with that? Master Dong exclaimed, Who would have thought you could defeat that evil martial master? That is truly magnificent. This will make the Hidden Dragon's reputation even more renowned. Mujin then mentioned that their vice leader had been beaten by them. Who would have thought the vice leader would be beaten like that? We should have sent at least a few warriors with him. I was too complacent. Their tyranny is worsening over time. Mujin added, If we leave them be, they will surely bring destruction and attack this place. Master Dong remarked that it would be terrible, asking, In that case, what should we do? Mujin asked, Do you have a proper solution for this? Since I've intervened this far, I must draw my sword as well. That is why I came here. All 3 were astonished. Is the young master planning to take action alone? Mujin answered, If I move, I need a bit of justification. Let's start with the nearby fabric vendor street. There's something I need the 3 group leaders to prepare. The next day at the market, Nozak and the bald man were strolling through the area. The bald man remarked, What a relief. This market is so quiet. Nozak said, I can't believe the market is completely empty like this. So this is their game. This is my first time seeing a market without a single person. No wonder the merchants went bankrupt. The bald man noticed a spot. Is that the place? They went straight over and sat at a chicken noodle stall, ordering 2 bowls and telling the vendor to add a generous heap of minced meat. Suddenly, someone approached and said, What brings respected warriors to such a humble shop? The food here isn't good. The shop across the street serves delicious food that will make you addicted. The vendor looked terrified, as the area seemed to be controlled by these thugs to prevent other merchants from doing business and drive them to bankruptcy. The bald man noticed several armed men across the street, standing in groups with weapons. The man who spoke looked annoyed because the bald man refused to move. It looks no different to me. I don't want the hassle of moving, so I'll just eat here. The man snapped. What did you say? I told you move from this place quickly because this shop is the worst. Nozak looked furious and barked. You're extremely annoying. Get out of here. He intimidated the man, who panicked and backed off, saying, Do whatever you want. However, the men across the street immediately stood up and walked straight toward the 2 of them. One of them spoke up, The shop here is the worst. Why don't you move over to our place instead? The bald man scoffed. What a bunch of clowns. Whether it tastes bad or good is my decision after I eat. Do you think you know my taste? They all flew into a rage. You impudent bastard. We're trying to speak politely to you. Are you deaf? Don't you understand what people are saying? The bald man barked back. All of you have such big mouths. Is that all you've got? Is that why you strut around with those swords? Stop talking and come at me. I'll beat you all up. Furious, they immediately launched an attack at the bald man, swinging their swords to slash him, but his head was slammed violently into the ground instead. The bald man and Nozak effortlessly beat them down one by one. The noodle vendor panicked as his shop was being ruined in the fight. You said you wouldn't damage the things in my shop. Why are you destroying everything? The onlookers were stunned, wondering what was happening, unable to believe that the group was being thrashed by just two men who were completely helpless against Mujin's subordinates. The scene shifted back to the Chonghua Merchant Group headquarters, where Mujin was finishing a letter. Master Dong asked, "Have you found it, Master Mujin?" Mujin answered, "I'm sorry for troubling you when you must be so busy. Please send this immediately to the Tang clan or the Poison Emperor's place." Master Dong understood. "I will prepare a carrier pigeon right away." He thought to himself, the Tang clan? So young Master Mujin has connections with the Tang clan. He is truly extraordinary to know the Poison Emperor. Suddenly, his two subordinates returned, dragging the troublemakers from the market, tied up and forced to kneel and bow their heads before Mujin. Mujin praised their performance. One of the troublemakers yelled, "Who are you people really? Do you know who we are to act like this?" Mujin answered, "Of course I know who you are. You're from the Chonghua Merchant Guild. How dare you raise your swords against our people? It is only fair that we treat this as a declaration of war." Mujin radiated a terrifying aura, terrifying the troublemaker, who recognized Mujin's face. "No way. Mujin, when did he come here?" And the aura around him is horrifying. Mujin demanded, "Where is your leader? I need to face him." The man panicked, thinking, "Damn it, we've been played. It's a trap." Mujin asked again, his cold gaze silently stating, "You don't plan on opening your mouth?" Mujin then ordered his subordinate to strike one of them. He immediately understood and slammed his weapon down on one of the man's subordinates. The subordinate collapsed to the ground, screaming in agony. The leader of the gang pleaded, "Why are you doing this to us? We really don't have a leader." However, Mujin simply ordered his men to strike the person standing right next to him as well. As another subordinate collapsed to the floor, the terrified leader of the troublemakers immediately blurted out, "I'll tell you everything. Please spare our lives." Mujin replied, "You should have said that from the start. Who is your leader? Tell me who he is and where he is right now." Mujin radiated a menacing aura, completely terrifying the man, who was thoroughly intimidated by how ruthless Mujin was. The scene then shifted to the Mount Tai Martial Hall of Shigong. Shaolin Grandmaster Haiyan Wu was there, deeply shocked to hear the news that Mujin had defeated the Crimson Moon Sword from the 4 heavenly martial constitutions. The person standing before him answered, "That's right. Isn't that great news for you? They say anyone possessing a heavenly martial body is bound to become a brilliant martial master in the future." Grandmaster Haiyan Wu responded, "Umitba, Monk Haigang's insight in judging people has never been wrong. This is an immense blessing for the Murim world in the Central Plains." Back then, he had deeply regretted being unable to guide young Master Mujin into a broader world, but now he could finally put his mind at ease. The man before him was named Noel Chong, a member of the Mount Tai Martial Master Hall. He let out a chuckle and said, "Indeed. I also heard that young Master Mujin's 2 younger siblings are remarkably talented." Haiyan Wu was taken aback. "Is that true? So Mujin has siblings?" Noel Chong continued, "Yes. At the Little Dragon tournament held in Sichuan, they managed to overwhelm a disciple from the Diansong sect who was 5 years older than them." Haiyan Wu thanked him for the drink and for sharing such important news. "I must take my leave now." Looking truly excited, he said, "It has been far too long. I should finally pay another visit to Sichuan." Meanwhile, back at the Amaze sect, the woman previously rescued by Mujin was approached by the chief abbess of the Amaze sect. She greeted her. "You have arrived, abbess." The elderly woman replied, "Yes. Before I leave, I wanted to see your face one last time." The young woman's name was Yolia. She asked, "Are you leaving right now? Why the sudden departure? Has something happened?" The elderly woman answered, "It's nothing like that. When you receive help, returning the favor as soon as possible is only proper, isn't it?" The elderly woman's name was Jean, and she was the head of the nun dormitory. "I am going to convey my gratitude to young Master Mujin in person and bring a small gift for his 2 siblings." Yulia remarked. He may have a handsome face, but he is truly a hero among heroes. He is incredibly nimble, and his two siblings are very friendly, smart, and exceptionally sharp. Jean smiled. Yes, I understand. I feel like I've heard you say that more than 10 times already. Yulia bowed. Please stay healthy and have a safe journey, Abbess. With that, she took her leave. Yulia thought to herself, a small gift, huh? I wonder what she plans to give the two of them. The scene then shifted to the Tang clan residence, where the Poison Emperor was reading the letter sent by Mujin. The next day, the Poison Emperor was seen arguing with his son, whose name was Zhongxian. Zhongxian protested, Father, Ho Jing is only 18 years old. The Poison Emperor retorted, So what? What's wrong with that? Isn't 18 the perfect age to get married? It seemed the Poison Emperor was attempting to introduce another one of his granddaughters to Mujin for marriage. Zhongxian replied, That is out of the question. The man who becomes Ho Jing's husband should be brought into our clan instead. If we send Ho Jing so far away and something happens that puts her in danger, how are we supposed to protect her? We must keep her close. The Poison Emperor barked. So you've decided to crush your own daughter's marriage prospects? You foolish boy. There will be no further argument, as my decision is final. Zhongxian couldn't accept his daughter being married off to Mujin, grumbling. Father is setting off in person just because of a letter from some foul brat? This makes no sense at all. Unbothered by his son's protests, the Poison Emperor prepared to depart for Mujin's residence alongside Ho Jing. Suddenly, Freya stepped forward and said, I want to go too. The Poison Emperor raised an eyebrow. Why do you want to come along? You acted as if you never wanted to set foot near the Yomo clan again. She answered, Someone needs to keep you company, grandfather. Besides, how much does young Ho Jing really know about the world? Ho Jing snapped back. I know everything I need to know. I'm sick of being treated like a child. Freya replied smoothly. I heard there are plenty of great restaurants near the Yomo clan residence. Let's go.